Chapter 498, The Next Unlucky One, 2, Big Sister, leave the situation in Myriad Mountain City to me. I'll inform you if anything happens. Qing Ju's voice sounded from afar. Ha, swear, this is great. If anything happens in Myriad Mountain City, it won't be able to hide from us, Ling Qingtian said with a happy smile. Yes. Ling Ruoxue nodded. Grandpa, the freak and I will find a place to advance first. We will carry out the next step of the plan when we return, Ling Ruoxue continued. Qing Ju's new ability appeared too timely for her plan. Okay, go quickly. Ling Qingtian said impatiently. Okay, we're going then. Ling Ruoxue was about to leave the bracelet with the freak when Qing Ju's voice sounded again. Big sister, the deep stream below the back mountain is very safe. Where can you advance? Qing Ju asked. Okay, let's go there, Ling Ruoxue answered and then left the bracelet with the freak. After exiting the bracelet, Ling Ruoxue and the freak came to the edge of the cliff at the back of the mountain. They looked down and found that the deep stream below could not be seen at all. Moreover, the entire mountain stream was shrouded in thick fog. Swear, should we go down? The freak asked. Okay, little peacock, bring us down. Ling Ruoxue released the tragic peacock and ordered. Yes, the peacock answered respectfully. Then it lowered itself and waited for Ling Ruoxue and the freak to sit on its back. It flew down into the deep stream after the two of them sat steadily. When they arrived at the bottom of the deep stream, Ling Ruoxue and the freak were surprised to find that it was unbelievably beautiful below. The blue sky, the warm sunlight, formed a sharp contrast with the thick fog above. Moreover, the air below was very fresh. There were many cute little animals playing happily apart from all sorts of flowers and grass. However, there were no signs of human habitation here. Hee, big sister, this place isn't bad, right? Qing Ju's voice sounded in Ling Ruoxue's heart. Yes, not bad. Apart from being inferior to our space, this place can be considered a paradise, Ling Ruoxue replied in her heart and praised the scenery here. Swear, we want to take a look too. Ling Qingtian and the others in the bracelet transmitted their voices eagerly after observing the scenery outside. Okay. Ling Ruoxue moved Ling Qingtian, the others, and the beasts out with a thought. This place is really good. It's not easy to find such a pure place on the boundless heaven continent now. Empty looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him and sighed with emotion. Hee, lass, it's not bad if we stay here temporarily. Old man Zhao said. Stay here. Don't tell me you intend to live in seclusion. Ling Ruoxue raised her eyebrows slightly and asked with a faint smile. Of course not. I just think the environment here is good and the air is good. Hee. Old man Zhao quickly explained. Big sister, Bal found a good treasure. At this moment, Bal, which had been playing around since leaving the bracelet, flew over and rubbed Ling Ruoxue's face with its round little body. Then it said in a childish voice. What treasure? Ling Ruoxue was very curious. It seemed that Bal had fewer opportunities to seek treasures since coming to the boundless heaven continent. Over there. Bal pointed at a corner not far away. Oh, let's go take a look. Everyone followed Bal curiously to the spot it pointed at, and then they were all stunned. This is a treasure. Chio. Have you not searched for treasures for a long time? Old man Zhao asked very implicitly so as not to hurt this little thing's self-esteem. Alas! How was this a treasure? This was obviously the most common weed in the boundless heaven continent. Treasure hunting is Bal's instinct. Bal won't make a mistake, Bal said angrily. It was very displeased that someone questioned its ability. Yes, I also believe that Bal won't make a mistake, Ling Ruoxue quickly coaxed. She squatted down and carefully uprooted the grass. However, she didn't expect the root of this grass to be golden yellow and transparent like crystal. Seems like it's really not ordinary weeds. Old Man Zhao said in surprise. He had never seen grass that resembled golden crystals. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the legendary yellow crystal root. Empty looked at the grass thoughtfully and said excitedly after a long while. Yellow crystal root? Len Ruoxua carefully searched for the types of herbs in her memory but found no records of any yellow crystal root. Swear, the yellow crystal root has been extinct for 1,000,000 years. I've only seen it in an ancient book. It's normal that you don't know. Empty said. Oh, Len Ruoxua answered thoughtfully. In fact, she was a little puzzled. Since she had never seen it in ancient books, then it was impossible that there were no records in the medicinal manual left by her master. The only explanation was that the yellow crystal root did not belong to the boundless heaven continent's world, so she did not see it. Empty, what's the use of the yellow crystal root? Old Man Zhao asked curiously. Wow, it had been extinct for 1,000,000 years. Didn't this grass become ancient? The yellow crystal root can be refined into a yellow crystal pill with several other rare herbs. The yellow crystal pill can treat any internal and external injuries. You won't die as long as you still have a breath left. Empty said. Wow, a sacred healing item. Let's look around to see if there's more, Old Man Zhao said excitedly. After speaking, he really began looking around. Ah. Go ahead and look. I'll advance first. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Len Ruoxua's forehead. After speaking, she sent the yellow crystal root into the bracelet. Then she pulled the freak to a spacious place and sat down to prepare to advance. The others, including Empty, lowered their heads and searched seriously. A moment later, the heaven-earth law that advanced descended on the entire valley. Immediately after, dazzling light quickly flashed, and then another wave of advancement. Chapter 499, The Next Unlucky One, 3, There was a long pause. After Len Ruoxua and all the beasts advanced separately, Old Man Zhao and the others were still searching seriously. Even the spectacular advancement seen just now didn't attract their attention at all. Len Ruoxua stood up after regulating her breathing. She looked helplessly in the direction of her grandfather and the others, speechless. Swear, looks like we've been ignored, the freak teased with a chuckle. Yes, freak. Eat this. Len Ruoxua took out 2 pills and handed one to the freak. Then she ate one herself. Swear, what is this? The freak asked curiously after taking the pill. Ah. It didn't look like an appearance-changing pill. During this period of time, they had been changing their appearance. Schwer had given each of them 2 more times after the appearance-changing pill's effects expired. However, it didn't seem to be time yet. This is the antidote for the appearance-changing pill. Len Ruoxua smiled evilly. Humph. She would take the antidote and not let them take it since they ignored her. Hee hee. Schwer, will it be troublesome if we recover our looks now? The freak said worriedly. He still didn't want others to see Schwer's beautiful appearance. Yes, but we are only recovering our appearance at home now. We will still be in disguise when we go out, so don't worry. Len Ruoxua comforted her. Alas. Her current strength was too low. If she couldn't disguise herself, trouble would probably not stop. Oh, that's good. The freak was relieved. Hee hee, this way, no one would have a chance to see Schwer's beauty. Master, I'm already a level 9 legendary beast. I'm just a little bit away from becoming a transcendent legendary beast. At this moment, Feng Zhan flew over with an excited face and landed on Len Ruoxua's shoulder. Hee hee, Master has recovered his appearance. Master's appearance was still more pleasing to the eye. Feng Zhan, congratulations. You have to work hard and advance to a transcendent divine beasts as soon as possible. Len Ruoxua encouraged. Hee hee, Master, it'll be fine as long as you work hard. It'll also benefit from your advancement. Feng Zhan said with a naughty smile. It advanced 2 levels in an instant during its master's advancement this time. This was much faster than its own cultivation. You lazy bum. Leng Ruoxu's forehead was full of black lines as she scolded with a smile. Alas! It seemed like her beast was really spoiled by her. She actually had such thoughts. Beloved master, your darling has also advanced. Darling jumped into Leng Ruoxu's arms with a whoosh and said coquettishly. Yes, darling is so powerful. You are already a level 6 legendary beast, Leng Ruoxu praised. Master. Charm also jumped into Leng Ruoxu's arms and lay down. Charm is already level 8. Not bad, Leng Ruoxu said happily. Then she carefully examined her other beasts. She was quite satisfied with one look because almost all her beasts had advanced to level 1 to 2. Even the little silver wolf and little fire lion, which she had always regarded as children, had advanced to legendary beast. However, baby. Big sister. Silver Maple and Yen happily surrounded Leng Ruoxu and acted coquettishly. Boo-hoo. They were finally legendary beasts. They could be considered adults in Big Sister's eyes now. Not bad. Leng Ruoxu nodded with satisfaction. She had higher expectations for these two little fellows, so they had been cultivating diligently in the space gloomily. Baby, what's the matter with you? Leng Ruoxu walked to baby's side, bent down, picked it up, and asked with some heartache. Baby was her first beast. However, later on, her beasts increased, so her impression of baby decreased a little. However, she had always been paying attention to baby's emotions. Big sister, I didn't advance, baby said sadly. Boo-hoo. It hadn't been able to advance since it slept for a long time last time and advanced 1 level. It was so jealous and sad seeing the other beasts advance like they were sitting on a rocket. Hee, so what? Baby didn't advance, probably because it needed too much spiritual power. Baby, don't be anxious. Leng Ruoxu comforted and looked at the other little thing that also didn't change much. Fortunately, Ball Ball wasn't as depressed as baby. Ball Ball quickly flew over when it sensed Leng Ruoxu's gaze. Its chubby and fluffy little body rubbed Leng Ruoxu's beautiful face warmly a few times, and then it snuggled up to Leng Ruoxu's pink neck and said coquettishly, Big sister, Ball Ball has a lot more energy in its body, but Ball Ball can't use it now. It's okay. All that energy is in Ball Ball's body anyway. It will be Ball Ball sooner or later, Leng Ruoxu comforted. Ball Ball was a carefree optimist, so she was not worried that it would become depressed because of this. Yes, Ball Ball answered happily, trying its best to nod its round little head. Shuer, are you done with your advancement? Leng Qingtian and the others walked over and asked in surprise. They searched several times but found nothing. It's over. Leng Ruoxu was a little speechless. Did these people go on a mental journey? They didn't even hear the huge commotion just now. When did this happen? Why didn't we see it? Lin Liang said foolishly. At this moment, he was still thinking about the yellow crystal root. Your attention is elsewhere. Several black lines rolled down Leng Ruoxu's forehead as she said helplessly. Shuer, is this your true appearance? Zero asked in amazement. He knew that Shuer and the others had been taking appearance-changing pills, so he had never seen their true appearance. Shuer, why did you recover your appearance? Leng Qingtian asked in puzzlement. He wouldn't have noticed it if she hadn't mentioned it. Yes, it's not easy to look good when the freak and I decide to stay at home, Leng Ruoxu said with a naughty smile. Lass. I don't want to change my appearance anymore. Can you give me an antidote? Old man Zhao said ingratiatingly. He had seen this ugly appearance for months and was a little tired of it. No. Leng Ruoxu refused without thinking. Why? Old man Zhao asked with a bitter face. Chapter 500, The Next Unlucky One, 4, Because your strength is too low. You're still a mystic, Leng Ruoxu said with a light smile. Boo-hoo. I don't have a drop-dead gorgeous appearance. No one will be interested in a disheveled old man. Old man Zao was really regretful. If he hadn't been curious back then, why would he have taken an appearance-changing pill? Even though his appearance was ordinary in the past, he was at least much better than this. Old man Zao, I won't give you the antidote unless you can advance to Mystic Monarch. Leng Ruoxua smiled evilly. Humph. Who asked you to ignore me? Hee, lass. You're not going to be confused. Isn't the appearance-changing pill only effective for 3 months? It'll be fine if I don't take it again when the effects wear off this time. Therefore, you can't threaten me because it will take a long time for me to advance to Mystic Monarch. Old man Zao said proudly. Oh, is that so? I forgot to tell you that the appearance-changing pill I gave you last time has no expiration date. Therefore, unless you take the antidote, you will live with this face for the rest of your lives. Leng Ruoxua said calmly. She was already laughing in her heart seeing old man Zao deflated. Ha, old man Zao must be speechless this time. This is impossible. Old man Zao didn't believe Leng Ruoxua at all. His sixth sense told him that she was teasing him. What's impossible? I found it too troublesome to take it once every 3 months, so I increased the dosage and refined it some more. These are all without a deadline, so you don't have to worry about not taking the medicine in time and exposing your true appearance. Leng Ruoxua said with a light smile. Swear, are you kidding me? I'm your biological grandfather. Leng Qingtian asked in disbelief after hearing Leng Ruoxua's words. Boo-hoo. Was his precious granddaughter playing with them? In fact, he originally planned to not eat it until the appearance-changing pill's efficacy expired. However, he didn't expect to hear such a terrible waste. Grandpa, I'm doing this for your own good. I'm afraid that Su Qian will recognize you. But don't worry. I'll give you the antidote immediately as long as you reach the strength of the Mystic Monarch. I promise. Leng Ruoxua promised very seriously. Lass, you and little Chen Chen haven't reached the Mystic Monarch yet. Isn't it more dangerous for you to recover your looks now than for us? Old man Zao said stubbornly. Boo-hoo. This naughty girl is bullying the old man. We only recovered at home. We will also change our appearance if we go outside, Leng Ruoxua said with a smile. Lass. Then let's use our original appearance at home. It'll be easy to go out. Old man Zao discussed. That would be a waste of pills. Alas. It's not easy for Qing Ju and Little Black to plant some herbs. Why don't they know how to be thrifty? Leng Ruoxua pretended to be displeased. In fact, she was already laughing in her heart. Ha, let's see if we can't deal with you this time. Leng Qingtian and the others were depressed. Swear, you're too good at this. Boo-hoo. How could they know that Leng Ruoxua wanted to teach them a lesson because they were only focused on finding herbs just now? Ha! Freak, let's go back. Leng Ruoxua said with a light smile. Then, with a thought, she stored everyone and the beasts in the bracelet while she and the freak sat on the little peacock's back again and let it carry them out of the deep stream. After entering the bracelet, Leng Qingtian and the others were still comforting themselves. It's okay. We're all old men. This doesn't matter. Yes, I've been watching it for months. I'm used to it. Hurry up and cultivate, and you can recover your original appearance as soon as possible. Empty had been listening to their self-pity, but in the end, he really couldn't listen anymore and said directly. There was a moment of silence when everyone heard that. However, everyone swore in their hearts that they had to cultivate the Mystic Monarch realm as soon as possible. Therefore, everyone became more attentive to cultivation from now on. This was also something Leng Ruoxua did not expect at first. Ah! This was probably what was meant by unintentional planting a willow. After Leng Ruoxua and the freak flew up to the deep stream, they found the 2 butlers standing obediently in the yard waiting for them. The two butlers felt the sound behind them and immediately turned their heads. However, they found a stunning man and woman they did not know, and a familiar peacock standing in front of them. They were stunned and did not speak for a long time. "Head butler, are you looking for me?" Leng Ruoxue asked with some amusement. "Ah. You are," the main butler rubbed his eyes and said uncertainly. Who was this woman? Why did her voice sound identical to his young miss? "I'm Leng Ruoxue," Leng Ruoxue said calmly. "Ah. Why, you're the young miss. Oh my god. Did you eat any divine pills or spirit herbs? How did you become a stunning beauty all of a sudden?" The second butler exclaimed in fright. This was too exciting. "You are the young miss?" The head butler said doubtfully, looking Leng Ruoxue up and down fiercely. "Ah." Their voices were very similar, and their temperaments were very similar, but there was no resemblance between their figures and faces. "Yes, I took an appearance-changing pill previously. This is my true appearance now," Leng Ruoxue explained. Oh. The two of them understood. No wonder the young miss wanted to take the appearance-changing pill. With their young miss beauty that could topple countries, who knew how many people would target her if she didn't change her appearance? The young miss and the others were not very strong. Ah. That meant endless trouble. "Miss, when did you come out of seclusion?" The head butler asked curiously after calming down. They were here to look for Leng Qingtian and the others, but there was no reaction in the room. Moreover, they didn't dare to barge in, so they waited in the yard for a while. They didn't expect to see their Mississippi just now. "By the way, why are you here?" Leng Ruoxue asked. "It's like this. We're here to tell Master Leng, Everyone is awake," the head butler said carefully. Alas. He didn't know if Miss would be angry after knowing about this. "Oh, then let them all come over. I'll meet them," Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. Then she pulled the freak to find a place in the yard to sit down. Chapter 501, The Next Unlucky One, 5, Yes. The head butler turned to call for help while the second butler carefully stayed by Leng Ruoxue's side to wait on her. "Second butler, are you afraid of me?" Leng Ruoxue couldn't help teasing the nervous second butler. "And no," the second butler said with a slight tremble. Boo-hoo. Why was the pressure on him getting stronger? He didn't dare to look directly at Leng Ruoxue now. "Second butler, wait aside first." "Well, call you if there's anything," the freak said coldly. He was very displeased with the second butler's shy reaction, so he was jealous again. Pfft. The freak's reaction made Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but chuckle. Hee hee, why was the freak so cute? How dare you laugh at me? The freak rolled his eyes at Leng Ruoxue and said with slight displeasure. Boo-hoo. Schwer was also a disaster. Hee hee. Leng Ruoxue smiled even more happily. She even stole a kiss on his lips while the freak was not paying attention. Schwer. The freak's obsidian-like bright eyes burned with care and passion as he stared at Schwer affectionately. Leng Ruoxue also looked back at the freak lovingly. Ahem. The head butler, who had been back for a while, coughed awkwardly. Then he hurriedly lowered his head, not daring to look at Leng Ruoxue and the freak. The people behind him also turned their heads tacitly, trying to minimize their presence. You're here. Find a place to sit. Leng Ruoxue ended her affectionate gaze with the freak and looked at everyone awkwardly. Yes, miss, everyone answered. Some of them had already seen Leng Ruoxue once, and some were seeing Leng Ruoxue for the first time. However, on the way here, the head butler had already told them about the situation of the young miss and wanted them to be mentally prepared. However, they were still stunned when they first saw the beauty of Leng Ruoxue and the freak because these two were not ordinarily beautiful. They were basically 10,000-year-old demons. Cheng Wu, tell me about the situation in Myriad Mountain City. Leng Ruoxu's beautiful eyes gently swept over everyone and said. She had heard from the main butler that she wanted to hear what others thought of Myriad Mountain City now. Miss, please take a look. This is the map of Myriad Mountain City. Cheng Wu composed himself, stood up, and took out a slightly yellowed beast skin scroll from his ring, placing it on the stone table in front of Leng Ruoxue and the freak. Oh. Leng Ruoxue looked at the map and answered lightly. Miss, Myriad Mountain City is actually divided into the inner and outer cities. The relatively safe place when you just enter Myriad Mountain City is called the inner city by us. That place has always been occupied by the 5 major forces. At the same time, that place is also the most prosperous place in the business circulation of 10,000 Mountain City. If we want to transact, we have to enter the inner city. Moreover, the price of selling things to the 5 major forces has been forced downwards. The sphere of influence we are currently in is called the outer city. Not only are there few resources here, but the number of people here is several times that of the inner city, so life is relatively difficult. Therefore, many forces have to rely on the 5 major forces because of life. Cheng Wu explained. But I heard that many mystic supremacies also live in the outer city, right? Leng Ruoxue asked casually. Yes, Mississippi. The mystic supremacies are very powerful. The 5 major factions would not dare to provoke them unless they were absolutely confident. Moreover, generally, all mystic supremacies are loners. They rarely establish factions. Moreover, the mystic supremacies are very rich, so they naturally won't have any burden. However, we are different. Many people brought their families to Myriad Mountain City for an adventure. Comparatively, life is even more difficult. Ah. The situation of the factions with fewer people can still be better, Cheng Wu said. Why can't we transact in the outer city? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Because the 5 major factions don't allow it, they want to firmly grasp the business of Myriad Mountain City in their hands, so they will immediately kill anyone mercilessly as soon as they discover that someone is conducting transactions in the outer city. No one will dare to transact in the outer city after a long time. Cheng Wu said very patiently. His situation was relatively good among all the factions, mainly because he didn't have many subordinates. If he took in everyone he saw like Wang Long, then he would probably not be able to eat anymore. Oh, is there anyone else you want to add? Leng Ruoxue looked at everyone. Miss, beautiful women are very unsafe in Myriad Mountain City, a young man added. Anything else? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. Alas. A woman with low strength but stunning beauty would probably not be safe anywhere. Miss, there are many rules in Myriad Mountain City. Moreover, many are set by the 5 great factions. Moreover, they order us to follow them, another person said. What rules? Give me an example. Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. She had never heard of the Myriad Mountain City having its own rules. However, these rules seem to have been passed down for many years and not set by a particular faction. For example, the rules state that we have to pay head tax every year. This is very stressful for the factions with a large number of people, the person continued. It was because of this that many factions later on didn't dare to casually take in people unless they were true experts. What does this have to do with them? The Myriad Mountain City doesn't belong to just anyone. Leng Ruoxue frowned and said speechlessly. Did these 5 factions treat themselves as the masters of a city? They had to pay a head tax. The strong are respected in Myriad Mountain City. Whoever has the biggest fist is the one who decides, the person said. These were the words that the 5 major factions often said. Oh. Leng Ruoxue answered lightly and lowered her head in thought. Miss, what should we do next? Cheng Wu couldn't help asking anxiously when he saw that everyone was almost done talking. Tell me, how determined are you to change this situation? Leng Ruoxue looked up at everyone after a while. As long as Miss leads us, we will definitely be able to defeat the 5 great factions and build a new Myriad Mountain City. Cheng Wu said with high fighting spirit. Chapter 502, The Next Unlucky One, 6. In fact, for many years, there had always been people who wanted to replace the 5 major factions and change the current situation in Myriad Mountain City, but they had not succeeded. That was mainly because no one had Leng Ruoxu's extravagance and boldness. Otherwise, if they had united early and not governed by themselves, Myriad Mountain City would probably not be what it was now. Unfortunately, they were not united in the past, and no one had Leng Ruoxu's cohesion and determination. However, Cheng Wu was absolutely unwilling to let go of such an opportunity now. Moreover, it could be said that all of them had never been so united. You have to remember that I'm just a passerby in Myriad Mountain City. I won't stay here forever, so what you're doing isn't for me, but for yourselves, and even for your descendants. Leng Ruoxu's beautiful eyes looked around at everyone and reminded them. Yes, Mississippi. We know, Cheng Wu and the others said hurriedly. The head butler had told them this a long time ago, and they knew that this was a very rare opportunity to change their fate. Very good. Which of you will introduce me to the 5 major factions? Leng Ruoxu said. Miss, the 5 major forces are mainly the forces of the Yu family, the Ni family, the Zhao family, the Fang family, and the Yu family. Among them, the Yu family is the strongest and is the leader of the 5 major forces. The Yu family is the weakest, and the other 3 families are not too different in strength, Cheng Wu said after some thought. What's the relationship between the 5 families? Leng Ruoxu continued asking. The 5 great factions might not seem to have a good relationship on the surface, but once something happens, the 5 families will immediately form an alliance to face the enemy together, Cheng Wu continued. Oh. Leng Ruoxu nodded thoughtfully and chose her first target after some thought. The Yu family. I've decided to deal with the Yu family first, Leng Ruoxu said calmly. Ah. Half of the people fell from their seats to the ground when Leng Ruoxu spoke. Moreover, almost everyone looked at her in disbelief. Your expressions are so strange. Leng Ruoxu smiled spuriously and said knowingly to the consultant, alas. She just said that she wanted to deal with the Yu family. Did they have to react like this? Miss, the Yu family is the strongest of the 5 major forces. Cheng Wu couldn't help reminding as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. I know. Haven't you heard of a saying, to capture bandits, first capture the leader? That's why I want to deal with the Yu family. Leng Ruoxu said with a light smile. He, actually, she obviously didn't want to deal with the Yu family because of this, but... Miss, the Yu family is very difficult to deal with. Moreover, they have mystic supremacy as their guardian. Cheng Wu quickly explained. Oh, it's okay. I won't fight them head-on. Leng Ruoxu said with a light smile. She was not stupid, so she naturally would not take the initiative to provoke mystic supremacy. At most, she would just make use of him. Miss, what exactly do you want? Cheng Wu asked in puzzlement, 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed. You will know when the time comes. Leng Ruoxu smiled mysteriously and kept them in suspense. Miss, what should we do? Cheng Wu asked after some thought. You. Well, talk about it when the time comes. Leng Ruoxu said with a naughty smile. Even though she had a rough outline of the plan, she still had to discuss the details with her grandfather and the others. Moreover, she still lacked the critical trump card in the plan. Yes. Everyone revealed puzzled expressions and couldn't help thinking in their hearts. Could it be that Miss didn't have any plans at all? Leave if there's nothing else. I would like to rest. Leng Ruoxu began to chase them away. Yes, Miss. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down everyone's foreheads as they thought, it's not dark yet, and we're going to rest. However, they still obediently exited the back mountain. After they left, Leng Ruoxu moved her grandfather and the others out. Shuer, what's your next plan? Leng Qingtian asked impatiently after finding a place to sit down. Grandpa, there are very few women in Myriad Mountain City, right? especially beautiful women? Leng Ruoxue asked. Ah. Probably. But Shuer, what does this have to do with your plan? Leng Qingtian was confused. What did Shuer mean? Hee, lass, don't tell me you want to try a honey trap. 5 birds with 1 stone. Old man Zhao smiled wretchedly. I want to. But the beauty that can make the 5 factions compete for her is nowhere to be found. Leng Ruoxue sighed softly and said with slight helplessness. Beauty traps were the best at all times and places. Unfortunately, where was the beauty? In fact, after hearing what Cheng Wu said, she had doubts about the relationship between the 5 major forces. The 5 major forces might not seem to have a good relationship usually, but they could always be united at critical moments. This could only mean one thing, and that was that the discord between the 5 major forces was only for show, for outsiders to see. In fact, the relationship between the 5 major forces was far from what outsiders thought. What she needed to do most now was to destroy the unity within them. Only then would she have a chance. Who said not? Isn't there one in front of us? Old man Zhao looked at Leng Ruoxue and smiled evilly. Hee, if this girl was willing to help, any man would be easy to capture. No. Before Leng Ruoxue could say anything, the freak stood up murderously and glared at the disheveled old man who came up with the rotten idea while roaring furiously. Ah. Little Chin Chin. Calm down. This is just a scheme. We won't really let her seduce another man. Old man Zhao quickly coaxed. Boo-hoo. How could he have forgotten about this jealous lover? It's over now. Little Chin Chin will definitely bear a grudge. That won't do either, the freak roared angrily. He couldn't even bear to think about it, let alone really going. How could Shuer's beauty be appreciated by other men? What's the rush? I don't intend to be that femme fatale. Leng Ruoxue comforted helplessly. Really? Don't lie to me, the freak reminded worriedly, his obsidian-like eyes full of anticipation. Chapter 503, Fishing a Small Fish, 1, I'm not lying to you. Leng Ruoxue promised like she was coaxing a child. Alas. She really hadn't thought of herself as the beauty in the plan. Ah. To be precise, she was not suitable. That's good. The freak was relieved to hear Shuer's promise. Lass. Apart from you, we don't have any extra women here now. Old man Zhao reminded her. The women in the village were not good. They were not good-looking enough. Who said so? Isn't Big Sister Linger a woman? Leng Ruoxue smiled evilly and moved Feng Linger out of the bracelet. Damn old man Zhao, have you never treated me as a woman? Feng Linger immediately placed her little wings on her waist and roared at old man Zhao fiercely as soon as she emerged. Ah! Old man Zhao was speechless as he looked at the fierce little red bird in front of him. In fact, he had indeed never treated Feng Linger as a woman. That was because Feng Linger had always been a bird in his heart. Humph. You've nothing to say now, eh? Feng Linger continued to roar furiously. Big Sister Linger, stop messing with him. We're discussing serious business. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Okay. Feng Linger replied and flew onto Leng Ruoxue's shoulder. Lass, don't tell me you really intend to use Lass Linger. Old man Zhao looked at Feng Linger and asked in disbelief. Lass Linger was too fierce. If he were to be the female lead in the honey trap, the man would probably be scared away. Sister Ruoxue, I can't. My partner will be jealous, Feng Linger said with a sad face. Don't worry, I don't intend to use you to carry out this plan. Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. Ah. Beasts could transform into human form, but they were not real humans after all. And with the beasts' understanding of humans, they would probably be exposed before the mission was completed. Then who do you intend to use? The beasts in the space are not suitable. They are too pure. Feng Linger racked her brains but couldn't think of anyone suitable to carry out this plan. Someone is very suitable. Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile, her beautiful eyes flashing with a scheming expression. Who? Everyone asked in unison. Moreover, the word curious was written all over their faces. Empty. Like a clap of thunder, Leng Ruoxue's words stunned everyone. Old man Zhao even fell to the ground exaggeratedly. Lass, who are you talking about? Old man Zhao got up from the ground and rubbed his arm that was hurting from the fall. He widened his eyes and asked uncertainly, Did he hear it wrong? Did Lass say empty? Empty was obviously a man. How could he carry out a honey trap? Empty. I don't think there's anyone more suitable than him. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Swear, he won't agree, Leng Qingtian said in realization. How could such a noble man be willing to pretend to be a woman? I'll think of a way to convince him, Leng Ruoxue said confidently. Then I wish you success. Old man Zhao said sympathetically. Alas! Wouldn't he be driven mad if he knew that she wanted him to act as a woman? Perhaps Empty knows already. Wait for my good news. Freak, let's go find Empty. Leng Ruoxue stood up and said to the freak. Okay. The freak was very cooperative. As long as it wasn't him pretending to be a woman. With a thought, Leng Ruoxue and the freak disappeared into thin air. In the bracelet. Leng Ruoxue, the freak, and Empty sat on a stone bench in the garden, staring at each other. No one spoke first. Empty, I have a plan that I need your help with. Leng Ruoxue said after a long silence. She did not seal off the communication between the bracelet and the outside world when she was discussing the plan with her grandfather and the others in the yard just now, so she believed that he should have known about it long ago. However, he pretended to be stupid in front of her. How evil. Nothing else would be a problem as long as you don't want me to pretend to be a woman. He tried to shut Leng Ruoxue up before she could speak. I do want you to pretend to be a woman. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. No. Empty spat out. You have to do it even if you can't. It has to be you no matter what. Leng Ruoxue said domineeringly. He would definitely be a drop-dead gorgeous beauty if he dressed up as a woman. She was really looking forward to it. Do you want to do it forcefully? Empty pouted aggrievedly. Yes, so you better be sensible and agree to my request. Otherwise, don't blame me for being too rough. Leng Ruoxue threatened with a smile. Little Chen Chen, your woman is threatening me. Empty turned his gaze to Yi Chen and complained with slight displeasure. Indulge her then. It won't cost you anything. The freak naturally stood on his wife's side and advised. No, I don't want others to see me. Empty swore that he would not yield. Boo-hoo. This was too embarrassing. Empty, you're an adult now. You can't be so shy all the time. It's time to go out and meet people. Leng Ruoxue suppressed her smile and said earnestly. I don't want to. I think my current status is good. Anyway, I don't want so many people to see me. Empty said resolutely. Don't worry, no one will know that it's you. Everyone will only think that you are a woman. Leng Ruoxue promised. I don't want to be a woman. Empty objected resolutely. No, no one wants you to be a woman. This is only part of the plan. It's only temporary, Leng Ruoxue coaxed. Then, how long will it take? Empty asked very reluctantly. Boo-hoo. Icy and him have been eating and staying for free. In fact, he was a little embarrassed and wanted to do more for them. However, did he really have to sacrifice his male body? That will depend on whether the plan goes smoothly. However, it shouldn't take long. Moreover, the freak and I will be by your side, so don't worry, no one will take advantage of you, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. That's not what I'm worried about. Empty roared furiously. Humph. No one had dared to take advantage of him yet. He just couldn't accept being a woman acting coquettishly to a man. Chapter 504, Fishing a Small Fish, 2, Then What Are You Worried About? Len Ruoxue was puzzled. Shuer, why do you insist on me pretending to be a woman? Empty asked helplessly. Boo-hoo. There were ready-made women whom she was not going to use but would rather have him impose instead. You're very beautiful. Len Ruoxue looked Empty up and down and couldn't help but exclaim. He's also very beautiful. Why don't you let him pretend to be a woman? Empty asked with slight dissatisfaction as he pointed at the freak. Humph. This man was more coquettish than him. He was definitely better at pretending to be a woman than him. Not him. Len Ruoxue's forehead was full of black lines. Ah. If she let the freak pretend to be a woman, those men would probably see God before they even got close. Why not? I think he's very suitable. Empty looked at the freak carefully. Well, the more he looked, the more satisfied he was. His figure, temperament, and temper are all not good. You are the most suitable. Len Ruoxue said with certainty. It was because he was an energy body and had always been injured, so his figure now was not as strong as that of a normal man. Instead, he looked a little weak. He was slightly taller than ordinary women, but just this weak body that seemed to collapse with a gust of wind was enough to arouse the protection of any man. Moreover, after this period of cultivation, his current body was basically solidified, and he didn't need to float around like a ghost anymore. Which man could refuse a pale and slightly sickly beautiful appearance coupled with this small body? Alas! Empty looked at the freak and then at himself. Then he sighed helplessly. It seemed like it was true. Empty, you have to believe in my taste. No one is more suitable than you. Len Ruoxue said with a light smile. Hee, what she wanted was a sickly beauty. Alas. All right then. Empty nodded slightly and agreed helplessly. Boo-hoo. Who asked him to live under someone else's roof? Let's begin our new plan tomorrow. Len Ruoxue said happily, seeing that her goal had been achieved. After settling everything, Len Ruoxue discussed her plan with her grandfather and the others. Then she summoned the main butler and Cheng Wu, gave them some instructions, and the plan officially began. On a certain evening, 2 women and a man appeared on the streets of Myriad Mountain City. The woman in the lead had a drop-dead gorgeous face, but her face was a little pale as if she had yet to recover from a serious illness. The 2 servants beside her were extremely ugly. Miss, we just entered the city and are unfamiliar with the road. Why don't we find a better inn to stay in first? The ugly maidservant said loudly, immediately attracting the attention of many pedestrians. Roar, what have I been teaching you? Girls shouldn't speak so loudly. Otherwise, you won't be able to marry in the future. The stunning woman sighed and said earnestly. It's okay. I'll marry a man then. It's the same, the ugly maidservant said nonchalantly. Alas. That's good too. I'll keep an eye out for you when I have the chance. The stunning woman covered her pink lips with her jade-like hands and said helplessly. Thank you, miss. The maidservant thanked her happily. Miss, shouldn't we find a inn? The male attendant beside her gritted his teeth while suppressing his anger. Ah. Yes. Alas. My memory hasn't been good recently, and I can't remember people and things I've seen. It's all thanks to you guys by my side. The stunning woman pursed her lips and smiled. That was really a smile that could overthrow cities and topple countries. The pedestrians around them had long been charmed by that beautiful smile that even the heaven and earth paled in comparison. Moreover, a growing audience watched them, and almost everyone's expressions were the same, amazement and disbelief. Miss, why are they surrounding us? The maidservant asked in puzzlement. I don't know. Let's find a inn quickly. It's going to be dark soon, the stunning woman said calmly. Miss, do you want to stay in the inn? Come to our NI Family's Inn. The waiter from the NI Family's Inn said with amazement on his face. Moreover, he secretly decided that he had to keep this beauty in his shop no matter what. Miss, you can't stay in the NI Family's Inn. That's a black inn. Of course, you have to stay in our Zhao Family's Inn. At this moment, the waiter from the Zhao Family's Inn also said, unwilling to be outdone. Humph. It would be good to see such a great beauty every day even if you couldn't have her. Damn it, your Zhao family runs a black shop. The things sold inside are so expensive. Miss, you mustn't be fooled, the NI family's waiter retaliated, and the two of them began to tear down each other. Miss, which house should we live in? I think these two families aren't that great, the maidservant said very displeased. I'm not sure either. The absolutely beautiful woman frowned slightly, her beautiful face full of distress. Ha, since you can't make up your mind, miss, of course you won't stay with either of them. Come and stay in our U Family's Inn. At this moment, a young man's voice sounded from the crowd. Immediately after, the man pushed through the crowd and came in front of the master and servants. You are, the absolutely beautiful woman revealed a puzzled expression as she sized up the man in front of her. She saw that the man was around 30 years old. He was tall, had handsome features, and had an extraordinary bearing. Strength. He might only be a mystic monarch, but the domineering aura of a superior was undoubtedly revealed. The arguing waiter immediately fell silent after he stood there. I am Yukun. May I know your name, miss? Yukun said very politely. Pfft. The ugly maidservant couldn't help but chuckle when she heard the man announce his identity. Roar, what are you laughing about? How rude. The stunning woman pretended to be displeased as she glared at her maidservant. Then she looked at Yukun apologetically and said, I'm sorry, young master Yu. My maidservant doesn't know the rules. Please don't take it to heart. No. May I know Miss' name? How could Yukun be in the mood to bicker with a maidservant? His mind was full of this great beauty in front of him. Chapter 505, Fishing a Small Fish, 3, Leng Wuxin, the stunning woman said lightly. Leng Wuxin, what a good name. Ah. Miss Leng is from the Leng family, Yukun deliberately said half a sentence and left the rest to Leng Wuxin to continue. Don't mention the Leng family to me. Alas. A body like mine really isn't worthy, Leng Wuxin said with slight sadness. Tears welled up in his beautiful eyes, making Yukun's heart ache. Hee, every family has its difficulties. I understand. I won't ask Miss Leng about sad things in the future. Yukun said very understandingly. However, he had long determined in his heart that this Leng Wuxin was the young lady of the Leng family. He reckoned that she was not valued in the Leng family because of her poor health. Thank you for your understanding, young master Yu. Leng Wuxin smiled lightly. Of course. Yukun composed himself and said quickly. He had been captured by Leng Wuxin's beautiful smile. Miss, we haven't found our inn yet, the maidservant suddenly reminded. Ah. Yes. Leng Wuxin became distressed again and frowned. Yukun's heart clenched when she frowned slightly. It's a small matter. I told you, Miss Leng can stay in our U Family's Inn. Did you forget so quickly? Yukun said with slight dissatisfaction. That's too troublesome. How can I do that? Leng Wuxin's cheeks were slightly red as he said shyly. How can it be troublesome? My family runs an inn, and you are a guest, how can it be troublesome? Yukun said hurriedly. Then I won't refuse. Leng Wuxin smiled lightly. Miss, please follow me. After speaking, Yukun led Leng Wuxin and her two servants straight to their own inn and very eagerly helped them book a room. He finally left reluctantly, looking back every 3 steps. In the guest room, Leng Wuxin lay on the soft bed, panting heavily. Empty, pay attention to your image as the eldest young lady. Yukun will come at any time, the ugly maidservant, Len Ruoxue, said impatiently. Ever since the plan began, Len Ruoxue left Myriad Mountain City undercover. Then she deliberately found an evening with a lot of passers-by and walked back in with the freak and Empty. In fact, she deliberately spoke loudly on the streets just now to attract the attention of others. Now, it seemed that the effect was good. At least, the fish took the bait smoothly. So what? I still have to sleep and fart. Empty said nonchalantly. He was already very depressed being dressed as a woman. Couldn't he be more at ease when there was no one around? Boo-hoo. Was it too late to regret now? Swear, let him do whatever he wants, the freak said sympathetically. Fortunately, he didn't have to pretend to be a woman. Otherwise, he would have to bang his head against the wall in frustration. All right. Len Ruoxue said helplessly. Alas. She also knew that there were great sacrifices for the sake of the plan, but there was nothing she could do. Swear, send me into the space. I'm not used to sleeping here, Empty said. He found that lying on the soft bed was not comfortable at all. Okay, Len Ruoxue answered and sent Empty into the bracelet. Swear, what should we do? Without the third wheel, the freak gently pulled Len Ruoxue into his arms. His face was full of anticipation, and his black starry eyes began to glow again. Stop. Freak, don't look at me like this now. Ill vomit, Len Ruoxue said, a little unbearable. Oh my god, it was really too terrifying. Swear, you despise me again. Boo-hoo. I didn't even despise you, the freak said aggrievedly. Ah. I don't despise you. It's just that your current appearance is really not suitable to make such an enchanting expression. It's too horrifying. Len Ruoxue felt her hair stand on end. Hee hee, what expression should I be wearing now? The freak teased with a chuckle. An expression like, before Len Ruoxue could finish speaking, there was a knock on the door. Who is it? The freak asked angrily with some dissatisfaction. I'm a waiter from the inn. Our young master asked me to deliver some food to Miss Leng, the waiter outside the door replied fearfully. Oh, just leave it here. The freak opened the door impatiently and pointed at a table not far away. Yes, isn't Miss Leng around? The waiter asked cautiously. Boo-hoo. Why was this man so fierce? He really didn't know how he had offended this ugly man. What? My young miss isn't someone you can see just because you want to, the freak glared and said irritably. No. No, my young master wants me to tell Miss Ling something. The waiter was so scared that he was about to cry. It's the same if you say it to me, the freak said coldly with a light eyelid. All right. Young master said he will come and see Miss Ling tomorrow, the waiter said helplessly and quickly disappeared after speaking. TCH, is there a need to specially pass on such a sentence? The freak murmured to himself after closing the door. Freak, what are you muttering about? Len Ruoxue walked to the freak's side and asked curiously. I'm talking about that Yukun. It's really strange. He can come tomorrow if he wants, and specially got a waiter to pass the message, the freak explained. Ha, this is to show that he values our young miss. It's also a hint. Len Ruoxue said with a light smile and looked at the sumptuous food on the table. Hee hee, looks like Yukun was quite sensible. A hint? The freak didn't understand. In fact, he really didn't know much about how men chased after women. Yes, I think he will take the initiative to invite us to his house in a few days, Len Ruoxue guessed. Ah. No way. So fast. The freak was a little skeptical. Not very fast. The entire Myriad Mountain City will know tomorrow that a stunning beauty came to the city. Rumor has it that she's the young lady of the Leng family. Think about it, how many love rivals will this identity attract to Yukun? How can he not be afraid? Len Ruoxue analyzed. Chapter 506, Fishing a Small Fish, 4, That's true, the freak said after some thought. Freak, rest early today. It should be very lively tomorrow, Leng Ruoxue said. Yes. The freak nodded slightly. The next day, as Leng Ruoxue had expected, many people came to ask to see Leng Wuxin. Leng Wuxin's reputation became even more resounding after he chose to receive them. On the third day. The fourth day. For several days, the Yu family's inn was full. Moreover, Leng Wuxin could definitely be found wherever there were many people. Miss, wake up. Don't scare me. Boo-hoo! Suddenly, Leng Wuxin, who was surrounded in the crowd, fainted, and her maidservant cried out in fright. In the main hall of the inn. Yu-kun, who was blocked outside the crowd, pushed everyone aside anxiously. He stretched out his long arm and hugged Leng Wuxin, who had fainted on the ground, tightly. He was so excited that he couldn't find his bearings. Boo-hoo! His sheener smelled so good. Who are you? Leng Wuxin, who had woken up slowly, asked in puzzlement, his beautiful little face full of confusion. Ah! Yu-kun was stunned, and he thought to himself, what illness does sheener have? Why does she have such a poor memory? She often asks who he is. Miss, you're finally awake, the maidservant beside her said with a worried face, her eyes still brimming with tears. Roar, where is this place? Leng Wuxin's clear eyes were full of doubts and puzzlement as she asked softly. Miss, did you forget? We were in the Yu family's inn. There were too many people surrounding you just now, and you couldn't breathe properly, so you fainted, the maidservant explained. All of you, disperse. Sheener isn't feeling well. Stop surrounding her, Yu-kun immediately ordered loudly. How could the surrounding people dare to stay here after young master Yu spoke? They all ran away in the blink of an eye. Sheener, it's okay. They won't dare to bother you anymore. Yu-kun looked at Leng Wuxin gently and said affectionately. Moreover, in order to improve his relationship with Leng Wuxin, he even directly called out the name in his heart. Who are you? Do I know you? Leng Wuxin asked foolishly. Sheener, I'm Yu-kun. You're my, Yu-kun said anxiously, but he was interrupted before he could finish. Sheener, he is the young master of the Yu family's inn. Ni Fang, who had just entered the inn, happened to hear what Yu-kun wanted to say, so he spoke first. Oh, and who are you? Leng Wuxin asked curiously. He's the young master of the Ni family's black shop, the black shop you encountered when you just entered the city. Yu-kun provoked. Oh, I remember there was also a Zhao family's black shop. The waiters of those two shops even quarreled. How interesting, Leng Wuxin said happily. Hee, yes. Yu-kun echoed with a smile, but he was very displeased in his heart. Humph. She remembered this clearly. She even remembered the two attendants, but she never remembered him. Fortunately, the others were not treated better than him, and this made him feel a little better. Sheener, I'm Ni Fang. You have to remember me. The refined Ni Fang introduced himself elegantly. How dare you call her Sheener? Yu-kun immediately exploded when he heard Ni Fang calling her that. If you can, why can't I? Ni Fang refused to be outdone. Sheener. Just as Yu-kun and Ni Fang were about to start a fight, another voice sounded in the main hall of the inn. Immediately, the flames in their eyes shot toward the owner of the voice. If looks could kill, the owner of the voice would probably be riddled with holes. What surprised them further was that Leng Wuxin dashed toward the man like a butterfly. Big Brother Ming. Leng Wuxin called out happily and hugged the man's arm affectionately. Crash. Upon hearing the word Big Brother Ming, Yu-kun and Ni Fang's hearts instantly shattered into several pieces, and the flames of anger in their hearts burned even more vigorously. Damn it, why did Sheener remember him? At this moment, they had long been blinded by jealousy, and they wanted to chop Zhao Ming into pieces in their hearts. Sheener, Be careful. You're weak and shouldn't run. Zhao Ming said worriedly. However, his eyes glanced provocatively at Yu Kun and Ni Fang. Ha, what a coincidence. Everyone is here today. Two young men walked in from the outside as the three of them competed silently. One of them said with a smile. What are you doing here? Zhao Ming looked at the two of them and said with slight displeasure. Can't we come if you can? Another man said nonchalantly. Ha, of course you can. My family owns an inn, anyone can come. Yu Kun said with a laugh, looking at Zhao Ming provocatively. Humph. You don't like them coming, so I insist on letting them come. Ah. You are. Leng Wuxin's beautiful face was full of question marks. Sister Shiner, Fang Yu, the incomparably handsome Fang Yu said mentally prepared. I'm big brother Yu Tao, the tall Yu Tao said helplessly. Oh, hello. Brother Ming wants to take me out to play. Let's go together. Leng Wuxin invited very warmly. Okay. Everyone answered happily except for Zhao Ming, whose handsome face was black. In this way, Leng Wuxin, her two servants, and 5 men with their own thoughts went on a trip together. Their goal for this trip was naturally to climb the mountain. The mountain that Zhao Ming brought them to was located in the Zhao family's territory. The terrain was good, the environment was beautiful, and the air was fresh. It was one of the few beautiful sceneries in Myriad Mountain City. Leng Wuxin finally climbed to the top of the mountain and sat down on the ground. He was drenched in sweat and panting. His originally pale face was now flushed, and he looked even more beautiful. Chapter 507, A Gathering of Men, 1, Zhao Ming, what are you thinking? You obviously know that Xiner's health isn't good, but you still brought her here to climb the mountain. Do you want to kill her? Yu Kun stared at Leng Wuxin, who was becoming more and more alluring, unblinkingly, and was the first to speak awkwardly. That's right. Look at how tired Shiner is, Ni Fang said with heartache, his face full of amazement. I don't think you have any good intentions at all. Humph. If we didn't follow you, why did you bring little sister Shiner here alone? Fang Yu also had an expression that said, you brat, don't have good intentions. Alas. Isn't it obvious? Fortunately, we came along. Otherwise, Sister Shiner would be in danger. Yu Tao added oil to the fire. What are you talking about? I'm the one who wants to climb the mountain. It has nothing to do with elder brother Ming. Leng Wuxin couldn't help speaking up for Zhao Ming. Shiner, you don't have to speak up for him. We know his thoughts. Yu Kun couldn't help roaring with some jealousy when he saw Zhao Ming's smug expression. I really wanted to come. Big brother Kun, you might not know this, but Xiner's illness requires wild ginseng, so I wanted to come to the mountain to see if I could find it. If I could find something 10,000 years old by chance, then Xiner's illness would be saved. Leng Wuxin explained faintly. Wild ginseng. A 10,000-year-old one. The word Big Brother Kun extinguished Yu Kun's jealousy and even made him a little smug. However, he still didn't miss out on the keyword in Leng Wuxin's words. Must it take 10,000 years? Fang Yu said awkwardly. 10,000-year-old wild ginseng was not easy to find now. Yu Tao, doesn't your family have a pharmacy? Have you heard of any 10,000-year-old wild ginseng? Zhao Ming asked thoughtfully. 10,000-year-old wild ginseng? He seemed to have heard of it from someone. Where did it come from? Why couldn't he remember? I don't know either. I have to go home and ask, Yu Tao stammered. Shiner, don't worry. All the herbs in our Myriad Mountain City are in the hands of the Yu family. He will definitely be able to find them with his help, Yu Kun comforted with some heartache. Yes, thank you, Big Brother Yu. Leng Wuxin smiled gently. You're welcome, Yu Tao said hurriedly, feeling even better. He, Shiner also called him Big Brother. Shiner, you must be hungry, right? Eat something. At this moment, Zhao Ming took out various utensils and food that he had long prepared from his ring and placed them in front of Leng Wuxin. He said with concern, "Humph." He couldn't let Xiner's attention be attracted by others. "Big brother Ming, I'm sorry. I can't eat the food outside. I can only eat the food made by my maidservant." Leng Wuxin carefully looked at Zhao Ming and said shyly, "But, don't you have some dishes every day in the inn? These are your favorite." Zhao Ming said in disbelief. He had spent a lot of money to find out Leng Wuxin's preferences. He didn't expect the news to be all wrong. He was so angry. That's because Shiner is afraid that others will know her strange illness, so she wants to hide it from others. Shiner doesn't want to be treated as a monster. "Boo-hoo," Leng Wuxin explained with a choked voice as he looked at the puzzled 5 men. "How can Shiner be a monster? Shiner is so beautiful, don't cry." The 5 men hurriedly comforted her. Alas! The Bowtie's crying broke their hearts. "Shiner has been weak since childhood, so all the food I've eaten since childhood was carefully prepared by my maidservant. Even the raw materials for the food were specially planted by my family for me. They were afraid that the things outside would be unclean, and eating them would be bad for my health," Leng Wuxin explained. "Roar, where's my food?" Leng Wuxin asked softly. She looked around for her maidservant after speaking. "Miss, it's here." Leng Ruoxue, who was disguised as a maidservant, pushed away the 5 men surrounding Leng Wuxin and said, "Roar, my food." Leng Wuxin said lightly, "Yes." Leng Ruoxue took out the food she had prepared beforehand from her ring helplessly and placed them in front of Leng Wuxin. "Yes, yes, not bad." Leng Wuxin looked at the food in front of him and nodded with satisfaction. Yukun and the others were all speechless when they saw the food Leng Ruoxue took out. Heavens! This was too extravagant. Did Shiner eat these every day? Alas! Ordinary men really couldn't support her with this way of eating. Fortunately, they were not ordinary men. Moreover, such expensive food were rarely seen usually, they were even more sure of Leng Wuxin's identity. Probably no family could support her except for the Leng family, which was a super family. "Miss, enjoy. Roar won't disturb you anymore." Leng Ruoxue retreated to a corner tactfully after speaking. The freak was naturally sitting in the corner waiting for her. "Shuer, you must be exhausted, right?" The freak hugged Leng Ruoxue and said with heartache. "Humph. Damn it, Empty actually used a strike to threaten Shuer to cook so many dishes. I'm alright." Leng Ruoxue leaned comfortably in the freak's arms and said with a light smile. "Shuer, which of these men do you think is sincere?" the freak asked curiously as he looked at the 5 men not far away. "None of them are sincere," Leng Ruoxue said disdainfully. During this period of time, Qing Ju had been monitoring the situation of the 5 major forces, so there were almost no secrets that could be hidden from her. These men might look decent but they were actually nothing good. Ah! The freak was speechless. Then why were they so concerned? "Freak, according to this situation, our plan will succeed quickly." Leng Ruoxue looked at the few people not far away and said with a light smile. "Yes." The freak nodded. "Roar, I'm tired. Let's go back." Leng Wuxin's voice sounded again after a while. "Yes, miss," Leng Ruoxue answered quickly and pulled the freak to his feet. The 2 of them walked in Leng Wuxin's direction. "Roar. I'm so full that I can't walk anymore. Why don't you ask Little Yao to carry me down the mountain?" Empty, who was pretending to be Leng Wuxin, said with a chuckle. Chapter 508, A Gathering of Men, 2, Little Yao. Leng Ruoxue and the freak were stunned and didn't react too well. "What Little Yao? Little Yao, I'm calling you. How dare you ignore me?" Leng Wuxin pointed at the freak, his beautiful face full of displeasure. "Me?" The freak's forehead was full of black lines. Damn it, Empty actually gave him a random name. Sheener, why don't we change such a disobedient attendant? Any one of Big Brother Kun's servants is 100 times better than him. Yukun said coldly by the side, but he was so jealous of this ugly freak who could touch Sheener. Big Brother Kun, I appreciate your good intentions. I'm used to using this, Leng Wuxin said with an apologetic face as if he had offended Yukun greatly by not accepting his good intentions. Leng Ruoxue and the freak, who were standing by the side and listening, had 2 drops of cold sweat dripping down their foreheads. They thought, wasn't Empty a little too immersed in the show? Little Yao, come and carry me. Leng Wuxin shouted with a naughty smile. Miss, this isn't appropriate, the freak said with a cold face, not moving at all, not even frowning. How is it not suitable? Leng Wuxin asked in puzzlement. Well, why did he have a bad feeling? Was he being too paranoid? Have you forgotten what old madam said? Old madam said that men and women shouldn't touch each other. You have to marry me if I touch your body. Hee hee, I don't mind marrying a great beauty like Miss, I'm just afraid that you won't be willing. The freak shrugged with an innocent face. Leng Ruoxue was stunned after hearing what the freak said, and then she laughed hysterically in her heart. Ha, the freak was really too cute. He actually thought of such a reason. Hee hee, let's see what Empty can do this time. Ah. When did this happen? Why didn't I know? Leng Wuxin blinked and asked in confusion. Old madam told us when Miss was very young. Otherwise, why would Miss only have me as your attendant? The freak lied through his teeth. Old madam also said that any man who has touched my young Miss body will become the Leng family's son-in-law. Ah. It seems like the young masters have all interacted with my young Miss body, so you all have a chance to become the Leng family's son-in-law. The freak blinked his eyes and said very innocently. Ah. Leng Wuxin was dumbfounded. What was going on? He clearly wanted to mess with that freak. Why did it become a trap for him to jump into? Young masters, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and carry my young miss down the mountain, the freak urged as he looked at the stunned men. Oh, Sheener, I'll carry you home. Yukun was the first to react. He hurriedly carried Leng Wuxin and ran away. Hee hee. He really didn't expect the Leng family to have such rules. Hee hee, this was really good news for him. After Yukun escaped with Leng Wuxin on his back, the other 4 people immediately reacted and began to pursue her relentlessly. At the same time, they were thinking in their hearts that they couldn't let Sheener fall into the hands of that big pervert Yukun. Freak, you are still the best. Leng Ruoxue looked at the few people who disappeared in the blink of an eye and couldn't help teasing with a light smile. Ha, this time, Empty was definitely going to be depressed to death. Hee hee, didn't he want someone to carry him down the mountain? Look at how many people want to carry him now, the freak said with a naughty smile. Humph. Want to mess with him? Dream on. His body was only for Schwer to enjoy. No one else was qualified. Freak, let's go too. Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Okay. The freak gently hugged Leng Ruoxue and nodded. It was already evening when Leng Ruoxue and the freak slowly walked back to the inn. However, they were stopped outside the door before they could return to their rooms. Shopkeeper, what's the meaning of this? We did pay for the room, didn't we? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement, her tone obviously displeased. Hee hee, you two are mistaken. I stopped you two just to tell you that your young miss is no longer staying in the inn, the shopkeeper said with a face full of smiles. What about my young miss? Leng Ruoxue asked the advisor. She's in the Yu family of course. Miss Leng is the future young madam of the Yu family, so of course she can't stay in the inn, the shopkeeper explained. Young madam? Doesn't young master you already have a young madam? My young miss won't be a concubine. Leng Ruoxue deliberately said very arrogantly. Of course. In fact, our young master doesn't have any young madam. Those women are just concubines. They're not important, the shopkeeper quickly said ingratiatingly. Alas! He couldn't afford to offend the people around the future young madam. Shopkeeper, lead the way and bring us to the Yu family. Leng Ruoxue ordered. Please follow me. The shopkeeper bowed slightly. In his opinion, he had given them enough face. Leng Ruoxue and the freak followed the shopkeeper to the backyard of the inn. A flying spirit beast was already prepared in the backyard. The three of them sat on the spirit beast's back and flew directly toward the Yu family's main mountain. They arrived at their destination moments later. Hee hee, the two of you have already arrived. This is our Yu family's main mountain. How is it? It's very majestic and grand, right? This mountain is the largest and best in Myriad Mountain City. In the air, the shopkeeper pointed at the green mountain not far away from them and said with a face full of pride. So. It's not as beautiful as the mountain we just went to the Zhao family's residence. Leng Ruoxue pouted with dissatisfaction. Humph. How can that lousy mountain of the Zhao family compare to our Yu family? Our Yu family's mountain is the best in the entire Myriad Mountain City, the shopkeeper retorted. Old Wang sells his melons and praises himself. Who doesn't say that their things are good? Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. Ah! The shopkeeper was so angry that he almost fainted. Shopkeeper, can we land now? Leng Ruoxue reminded the shopkeeper, whose face had turned green from anger. However, she couldn't help feeling a little regretful. Alas! This shopkeeper's tolerance was quite strong. Okay. The shopkeeper gently patted the flying beast's head. The beast was so well trained that it found a spacious place and landed steadily. Chapter 509, A Gathering of Men, 3, I'm here on young master's orders to deliver Miss Leng's servants. Outside the Yu family's main residence, the shopkeeper took out a token and said to the guard guarding the door. Go in. The young master asked you to send them to the Heartless Garden. The guard let them pass without even looking at the signboard because he had just received the young master's order. Okay. The shopkeeper thanked him and then led Leng Ruoxue and the freak straight to the Heartless Garden. After several turns, the shopkeeper finally brought Leng Ruoxue and the freak to the Heartless Garden. Leng Ruoxue stood outside the Heartless Garden, looking at the obviously new board, her heart full of sarcasm. Alas! This was what men were like. Liking the new and hating the old should be the common problem of all men. Please enter. Miss Leng is still waiting for you. I'll take my leave. The shopkeeper turned and left after speaking. Leng Ruoxue and the freak walked directly into the Heartless Garden after seeing the shopkeeper leave. At this moment, hundreds of flowers were blooming in the Heartless Garden, and thousands of birds were chirping. It was the most beautiful time. The guards in the yard were abnormally tight, almost guarding every 3 steps and every 5 steps as if they were guarding something important. In the garden, Empty sat on the chair and played with the flowers in his hand in boredom. He was really depressed. Boo-hoo. He was actually imprisoned. Why weren't Little Snow and Little Chin Chin accompanying him yet? At this moment, Leng Ruoxue and the freak happened to walk in. They saw the depressed-looking Empty from afar. The two of them slowly approached. Miss, your servants are here, Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Damn girl, why are you only here now? Where did you two fool around? Tell me the truth. Upon hearing Leng Ruoxue's voice, he immediately roared furiously. These two baddies only cared about traveling and playing and left him alone with the 5 wolves. Boo-hoo, bad people. Miss, calm down. How can you wrong us? We walked down on our legs, unlike you who has someone carrying you. Of course, you're faster than us. However, your speed is really extraordinary. Are we going to discuss marriage now? Leng Ruoxue teased with a light smile. Hee, they had successfully infiltrated the enemy's ranks. Even though it was a little different from her plan. Damn girl, you still dare to say that. It would have been better if she hadn't mentioned it, but now that she did, his anger rose immediately. What's the matter? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. Humph. Empty snorted coldly and turned his head to ignore them. My good miss, don't be angry with us. Leng Ruoxue coaxed softly. Shiner, aren't they already here? Why are you still angry? Suddenly, Yukun's voice sounded from beside the three of them. Yukun had already appeared not far behind them. Young Master Yu, help us persuade Miss. Miss is angry with us. She thinks we're too slow. Boo-hoo, Leng Ruoxue said aggrievedly with tears in her eyes. Hee, it's okay. Shiner was just worried about you guys. She got a scare on the way. Yukun said understandingly. By the way, Shiner, I know the whereabouts of the 10,000-year-old wild ginseng you wanted. It's the Yu family's treasure. Humph. Yu Tao even told us that he didn't know. How ridiculous. However, don't worry. I've already asked father to help me ask for it from the Yu family. I think the Yu family won't dare to trample on my father, Yukun said confidently. He even began to fantasize in his heart that he was already the Leng family's quick son-in-law. Thank you for your trouble, big brother Kun. I'm tired and want to rest, Leng Wuxin said with a pale face. Is Shiner feeling unwell? Yukun asked worriedly. I'm alright. I'm just a little tired today and want to rest early, Leng Wuxin said weakly. Then Shiner should rest early. Big brother Kun will visit you tomorrow, Yukun said very thoughtfully. Take care of Shiner. As for you, little Yao, don't go near Shiner. Yukun added before leaving. Yes, Leng Ruoxue and the freak quickly replied, laughing in their hearts. After Yukun left, Leng Ruoxue and the others entered the room. Miss, your charm is really too great. Leng Ruoxue turned her head and said with a light smile after closing the door. Swear, how much longer? I can't take it anymore. Empty said frantically. Bear with it. Be good. Aren't you doing well pretending to have amnesia? It'll pass quickly when you have nothing to do. Leng Ruoxue coaxed. I'm not pretending. I really want to lose my memory. Empty said with a long face. Boo-hoo. He got in too deep with Leng Ruoxue. It doesn't matter if it's real or fake, as long as you hang in there. By the way, why were you suddenly taken to the Yu family's residence? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. Qing Ju only told her that Empty had been taken to the Yu family's residence, but he didn't tell her why. Therefore, she really didn't understand why the decision was made so suddenly. Even though infiltrating the enemy was part of her plan, wasn't this a little too rushed? Didn't that little brat tell you? Empty glared at the freak and said with some displeasure. No. Why would I ask you if he told me? Leng Ruoxue said speechlessly. Alas. Was she mad? It's all his fault. Empty said through gritted teeth, his beautiful eyes shooting out raging flames. What does it have to do with me? Don't malign me. The freak raised his eyes slightly and said nonchalantly. Who else does it have to do with? Will I be brought here directly if it doesn't have to do with you? Empty roared. Humph. Those stinky brats would have died long ago if he wasn't afraid of ruining Schwer's plan. No, calm down. Tell me what happened. Leng Ruoxue quickly coaxed, her face full of question marks. Alas. So infuriating. Qing Ju kept her guessing, but Empty was hesitating as well. I was snatched here because of the old madam that the damn freak mentioned. They believed it, so the 5 of them fought. In the end, Yukun won, and he brought me here, Empty explained hesitantly, his expression very conflicted. Chapter 510, Suspicion, Scheme, 1, that's simple. Tell me about the fight. Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of gossip, her little face full of excitement. What's there to talk about in a fight? It's just a fight. However, I can tell you that the other 4 are seriously injured. Empty explained. Oh, no. I think you're tired too. Rest early today. Len Ruoxue sent Empty directly into the bracelet. Swear, you also realize that he is a big light bulb, right? The freak said happily when he saw Len Ruoxue losing everything. No, I'm afraid you will start fighting, Len Ruoxue said lightly. Hee, actually, she wanted to visit those families with the freak to see the commotion. Len Ruoxue summoned Quill and Rise with a thought. Then she got Quill to cast an invisibility spell on them, and the 2 of them set off. Swear, can't Qingju monitor them? Why do we have to go there personally? The freak asked in puzzlement on the way to the Ni family. Humph. That stinky brat has learned bad things. He didn't tell me anything fun, so I had to do it myself. Len Ruoxue complained very displeased. Big sister, you wronged me. Qingju couldn't help transmitting his voice to complain when he heard Len Ruoxue's complaint from the bracelet. Really? Then why didn't you tell me anything? Len Ruoxue immediately questioned. Big sister, didn't I tell you that he was brought to the Yu family? Qingju said aggrievedly. What about everything in between? I'm asking about that. Len Ruoxue said angrily. Boo-hoo. She would occasionally gossip. Damn, Qingju actually refused to satisfy her curiosity. In between, there's nothing to say. Didn't Big Sister always only want the result? Qingju pouted his little mouth, and his clear black eyes were full of tears as he sent a pitiful voice transmission. Ah! Len Ruoxue was speechless. This became her own problem. Stinky Qingju, how dare you quibble? You didn't tell me when I asked you. Len Ruoxue reacted and questioned. Big sister, I forgot what happened. Qingju said innocently. Forgot? You're an artifact spirit? Are you telling me that there's something wrong with your memory? Len Ruoxue was helpless. Why did she only realize today that Qingju was so good at quibbling? Big sister, I have too many things to remember every day. There are also times when my head is full. Therefore, there's naturally no need to remember some unimportant things. Qingju said matter-of-factly. Alright, Len Ruoxue admitted defeat. She decided that she would treat Qingju as a computer from now on because Qingju would also overload. Big sister, are you angry with me? I'll tell you everything in the future, okay? After a while, seeing that Len Ruoxue ignored him, Qingju said pitifully, its black eyes full of pleading. Boo-hoo. Big sister, don't ignore me. Big sister, Yukun went to the toilet just now and grabbed something to eat without washing his hands, Qingju continued with a smile. You don't have to tell me this. Len Ruoxue's forehead was full of black lines. She couldn't bear it anymore and roared in her heart. Damn Qingju, he must have done it on purpose. Oh. Qingju covered his mouth and giggled. Hee, big sister is so cute. Qingju, continue monitoring them. Tell me if there's anything important. There's no need to say anything unimportant. Len Ruoxue sighed softly and said helplessly. She cut off her connection with Qingju after speaking. What's the matter, Shuer? The freak asked in puzzlement when he heard Len Ruoxue suddenly sigh. Nothing. I just had a chat with Qingju. That stinky brat deliberately pissed me off. Len Ruoxue said helplessly. Hee, my Shuer is too cute, the freak said with some jealousy. Ah. Len Ruoxue looked at the freak cautiously and thought, what a strong vinegar smell. Master, we're at Patriarch Nis residence, Quill reminded. Quill, just fly in, Len Ruoxue ordered. They were invisible anyway, and no one in the Ni family could see them. Yes. Quill flew in and searched with its X-ray vision after hearing Len Ruoxue's instructions. Finally, it landed in a yard. Master, this is the main courtyard, Quill reminded. Okay. Leng Ruoxua nodded and jumped down from Quill's back. Leng Ruoxua looked up and sized up the Ni family head's yard. She saw that there was nothing else in the huge main yard except for a few tall towering trees, a few stone tables, and stone chairs. This patriarch of the Ni family is quite low-key, Leng Ruoxua said in surprise. This yard doesn't look like someone who likes to be ostentatious, but who knows, the freak said nonchalantly. To be honest, he didn't have a good impression of the Ni family because the waiter from the Ni families in had threatened them when they first arrived in Myriad Mountain City. As the saying goes, like servant, like master. Someone's talking in the study. Let's go take a look. Leng Ruoxua vaguely heard voices coming from the study with the light on, so she suggested. Anyway, it was not the first time they were eavesdropping. Okay. The freak nodded slightly. The two of them and the two transmogrified little beasts quietly walked toward the study. In the study, the patriarch of the Ni family sat at the head of the table with a worried expression. He was a middle-aged man in his 60s with handsome features and a strong aura. The power of the mystic sovereign gave him a domineering aura. The matriarch of the Ni family was sitting in a chair beside him. She was about 40 years old. She was definitely a beauty when she was young, even though she was a little chubby and disheveled. A middle-aged man who looked like a butler was standing respectfully opposite them, waiting for instructions. Old master, that Yu-kun was too ruthless. He actually injured Fanger so badly. You have to uphold justice for Fanger. Madame Ni wailed with snot and tears. Make a decision. How can I make a decision? The five of them actually fought on the streets for the sake of competing for a woman. Our Ni family has been in Myriad Mountain City for so many years, and we've lost all our faces this time, the patriarch of the Ni family said with a face full of anger, and he was even more furious in his heart. What kind of woman is so charming that they actually fought on the streets for her? Chapter 511, Suspicion, Scheme, 2, Old Master, I heard from Fanger that the woman is the daughter of the Leng family. Mrs. Ni whispered. Leng family? Which Leng family? Patriarch Ni was stunned. Which other Leng family is there on the boundless heaven continent? Madame Ni rolled her eyes at her husband. Why would the daughter of the Leng family come to Myriad Mountain City? The patriarch of the Ni family's face was full of doubts and disbelief. The Leng family was one of the three major families on the boundless heaven continent. The ice city where the Leng family was located was hundreds of times stronger than the Myriad Mountain City. How could the Leng family let the daughter of their family come to Myriad Mountain City to suffer? One had to know that the standard of living in Myriad Mountain City was completely incomparable to the ice city. The only advantage was that Myriad Mountain City did not belong to any faction. Wrong, Myriad Mountain City was now in the hands of the five major factions. Why not? Madame Ni asked in puzzlement. The Leng family loves and cares for their girls. They won't be allowed to suffer in Myriad Mountain City. Patriarch Ni said after some thought. Old master, that woman must be the daughter of the Leng family, Madame Ni said with certainty. How are you so sure? Patriarch Ni asked in puzzlement. Fanger told me. He said that the clothes Miss Leng wears and the food she eats are not something ordinary small families can afford. There are some things that he has never seen before, Madame Ni said happily. If Fanger could become in-laws with the Leng family, then she would not have to worry for the rest of her life. Old master, why would Fanger lie? Madame Ni couldn't help asking when she saw the patriarch remain silent for a long time. Fanger won't lie, but that woman is in the Yu family now. This isn't easy to deal with. The patriarch of the Ni family's face was full of difficulties. It would be easy if it was in the other three families, but he couldn't force his way in the Yu family. Old master, you've suffered for so many years. Why are you still so cowardly at this age? Madame Ni said angrily. What do you know? The patriarch of the Ni family was about to say something, but he realized that he had misspoken and quickly stopped. Old master, outside the study. Leng Ruoxue gently tugged at the freak's arm and whispered, "Let's go." "Swear, they're still talking," the freak reminded her. "He won't say any more. Let Qing Ju monitor him." "Let's go back," Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. "Aren't the other three going?" the freak couldn't help asking. "No, it should be about the same situation as here. Let's go back first," Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. "Okay." The freak nodded, and the two of them sat on Quill's back. Soon, they returned to the Heartless Garden. After returning to the Heartless Garden, Leng Ruoxue directly brought the freak into the bracelet. Empty was sitting in the garden waiting for them. "How was it? Did you obtain anything?" Empty asked with a smile. "I guess so. There seems to be some secret between the 5 great factions, but the patriarch of the Ni family refuses to say." Leng Ruoxue found a stone bench and sat down. "There will definitely be secrets. I think it should be related to the complicated relationship between them," Empty said with a smile. "No, do you know something?" Leng Ruoxue asked doubtfully. "I once heard that the ancestors of the 5 great factions were brothers of the opposite sex. Moreover, they seem to have left behind some last words before they died. However, only the patriarchs of the 5 families know the specifics," Wu Shu said after some thought. "As far as I know, the conflicts between the 5 major forces are also very fierce. However, once someone dares to provoke any one of them, the other 4 families will face a common enemy," Leng Ruoxue said. She originally thought that the fights between the 5 major forces were for outsiders to see, but she later realized that she was wrong. The fights between the 5 major forces could sometimes be described as like fire and water, but the other forces could forget about challenging their authority. Could it be that in the eyes of the 5 major factions, even if they don't get along, it's an internal matter? However, if an outsider dares to provoke any of them, then it's not something they can tolerate. Like what Schwer said, "We have to unite against the outsiders," the freak guessed. "That's possible." Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. "Schwer, if that's the case, it will be very difficult to make them fight among themselves. It's fine if it's a small fight, but they won't be stupid enough to hurt their foundation, right?" the freak said worriedly. This will depend on Miss Wuxen's charm," Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Alas! She was really a great beauty. It would probably be difficult to refuse if she were a man, right? "Damn girl, do you want me to sell my body again?" Empty complained unhappily. Boo-hoo. He would definitely vomit after seeing those men for a few days. "You don't have to sell your appearance. Someone will naturally start a fight for you as long as you sit there weakly," Leng Ruoxue teased with a light smile. Hee, Empty was really a disaster. "Then I have to eat delicious food every day. Otherwise, I will go on strike," Empty said. "Damn it, you're doing this again. Every day." The freak jumped to his feet, his pitch-black eyes glaring at Empty fiercely. "What? Do you want to fight? You're currently not my match," Empty said with a light smile. That smug look was really asking for a beating. "Damn it, just you wait. One day, I'll let you know how powerful I am." The freak suppressed his anger and said. Humph. Those who knew the truth were outstanding. He was indeed not this fellow's match now, but in the future. He would definitely beat this fellow until his teeth were all over the ground. "Schwer, he threatened me." Empty pretended to be pitiful and looked at Leng Ruoxue with tears in his beautiful eyes. "Serves you right. Who asked you to provoke him?" "Empty, be good so that I can plead for you in the future, understand?" Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. With that, she pulled the angry freak out of the garden and returned to the purple bamboo hut to rest. The next morning, Leng Ruoxue and the others left the bracelet early and returned to the residence Yukun had arranged for them. In the room, Swear, I haven't had enough sleep. Empty, who was forced to sit in front of the dressing table by Leng Ruoxue, said with great dissatisfaction. Chapter 5:12, Suspicion, Scheme, 3, Go ahead and sleep. When Yukun comes later, I'll say that Miss is still sleeping. I think he will be more interested in our Miss sleeping appearance, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. Ah. I'm scared of you. Make up for me while I sleep, Empty said helplessly and forced himself to stay awake. That's more like it. Leng Ruoxue took out the makeup she had prepared beforehand and began to apply it on Empty's face. In just 10 minutes, a drop-dead gorgeous beauty was born. Can I continue sleeping now? Lawless asked sleepily with his eyes closed. Go to sleep, but be careful. Leng Ruoxue reminded. Okay. Empty nodded and then fell asleep on the bed. Leng Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and lowered the curtain for Empty. Soon after, she heard voices coming from outside the room and walked out. In the yard, the freak guarding the door stopped Yukun, who was about to enter and stopped him very politely. I'm sorry, young master you. Miss hasn't gotten up yet. Why isn't she up yet? Is she unwell? Yu Chuanjuan asked worriedly. Miss has always been weak, so she likes to sleep very much. She probably won't get up until noon, the freak said very calmly, the disgust in his black eyes flashing quickly. It's okay. I'm Zeiner's fiancé. I'm just going in to see her, Yukun said, unwilling to give up. He missed Shiner so much yesterday that he didn't sleep for the entire night. Coming here early in the morning, he would be unwilling if he couldn't see his beloved. Little Yao, let young master you in. Leng Ruoxue, who had been hiding at the side and not making a sound, suppressed her smile. No, Miss is still sleeping. I have to be responsible for her reputation, the freak refused stubbornly. I'm your Miss fiancé. Can't I enter? Yukun said angrily, hating the obstruction of the freak. You said fiancé. Of course not, the freak said without giving him any face. Good, this is great. What a loyal servant. I'll send someone to ask for your young Miss hand in marriage now. Yukun gritted his teeth in hatred and swore in his heart that when he became Zeiner's husband, the first person he would deal with would be this servant who dared to contradict him. My young Miss betrothal gift must be 10,000-year-old wild ginseng. It won't do if you don't have it, the freak reminded loudly as he watched Yukun leave angrily. Ha, freak, you're so bad. Leng Ruoxue walked to the freak's side and said with a light smile. Swear, I did it all for you. Boo-hoo. Now that I've offended Yukun, he will definitely take revenge on me. You have to protect me. The freak took the opportunity to act coquettishly, his bright black eyes full of desire and anticipation. Don't worry. He doesn't have time to take revenge on you now. He has to get some wild ginseng. Leng Ruoxue said in realization. That's only a matter of time. The freak's black eyes released countless careful hearts as he looked at Shuer lovingly. Don't worry. I'll protect you, Leng Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. That's more like it. The freak nodded with satisfaction and gently pulled Leng Ruoxue into his arms, praying silently in his heart. Shuer, I hope I can accompany you forever and witness your growth. Time passed quietly. When Empty walked out of the room, he saw Leng Ruoxue and the freak hugging each other on a stone chair by the flower bed. The two of them looked so warm and sweet that Empty could not bear to disturb them. He stood rooted to the ground, unwilling to break the beautiful and peaceful scene in front of him. Until Leng Ruoxue and the freak finally discovered his existence. Miss, why didn't you let me know when you came out? Leng Ruoxue teased while looking at the foolishly standing still. I just came out, Empty said awkwardly. He couldn't help but grumble in his heart. This heartless bad girl actually teased him. Humph. Would he have done this if he wasn't afraid that someone would be shy? His feet were about to go numb from standing. Boo-hoo. If he had known that he would have to stand for so long, he might as well have floated. What's the matter? Did you stand for too long? Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. No, I think I sprained my ankle. Empty casually found an excuse. Oh, then quickly sit down. Leng Ruoxue didn't expose him and quickly said. Alas, she only knew today that energy bodies could also sprain their feet. She had learned new knowledge again. Okay. Empty was on the stone chair in the air above Leng Ruoxue and the freak, becoming a big light bulb. Miss, I have good news for you, the freak suddenly said with a mysterious expression. What good news? Unparalleled Bowtie's face was full of question marks. Humph. He didn't believe that this fellow would have any good news. Young master, you came while you were sleeping. He said he would send someone to propose marriage to you, the freak said happily. Is this considered good news? Empty asked angrily with a black face. Doesn't it count? The freak asked, his ugly face full of confusion. How is that possible? Empty roared furiously. All right, stop arguing. Empty, you should think about it this way. As long as Yu-kun obtains the wild ginseng, our plan will be halfway successful, and you will soon be free, Leng Ruoxue reminded. Humph. Learn well. Shuer is better at talking than you. Empty glared at the freak. Of course. Shuer is my woman, the freak said proudly, his face full of pride. Look at how smug you are. Humph. Empty turned his head away from the man who almost made him vomit blood from anger. Shuer, I find that, our young Miss Temper is really becoming worse, the freak said to Leng Ruoxue fearlessly. Damn freak, I won't let you go. Empty began fighting the freak. Shuer, save me. Someone wants to murder your husband. The freak dodged the attacks and didn't forget to ask for help. Leng Ruoxue looked at the two men chasing around the garden like children and couldn't help but be speechless. Chapter 513, Suspicion, Scheme, 4. The atmosphere in the garden of the Heartless Garden was warm, but the atmosphere in the Yu family's patriarch's study was abnormally depressed and depressed. In the study, the Yu family head sat on the main seat with a stern face. He was about 50 years old and looked very similar to Yu-kun. He looked very sanctimonious just from his appearance, but his strength was that of a mystic supremacy. Yu-kun stood in front of the desk, looking at his father anxiously. However, he did not dare to ask what he wanted to know, seeing that his father's expression was not good. Kuner, that old man from the Yu family, declined. The Yu family's patriarch finally spoke after a long silence. Then what should we do? Father, think of a way. I must marry Shiner. Yu-kun said anxiously. Kuner, are you sure that woman is really from the Leng family? The Yu family's patriarch asked doubtfully. Yes, definitely. Father, didn't you secretly look at her? And those things I told you, can ordinary families possess them? Yu-kun said hurriedly. But I keep feeling that the background of that woman is suspicious. If she is really the daughter of the Leng family, then we should visit them personally to propose marriage. That will also show our sincerity. After all, how can a woman like her decide on marriage? The Yu family's patriarch said slowly after some thought. Father, when will it be my turn if I go to the Leng family to propose marriage? Yu-kun said without confidence. Alas. Their Yu family was considered to be trustworthy in Myriad Mountain City, but what was it compared to a superfamily like the Leng family? Kuner, what are you talking about? How can our Yu family be inferior? Myriad Mountain City is our territory. Even the Leng family would have to play by our rules if they come to the Myriad Mountain City. The Yu family's patriarch said confidently. Humph. Back then, even the Leng family had to be polite to his grandfather's generation. Unfortunately, he forgot that the current Yu family was no longer the Yu family of the past, and the Leng family might not necessarily give him face. Father, going to the Leng family to propose marriage is indeed insurance, but what if the Leng family sends people to investigate my background? Wouldn't my past deeds be exposed? Yukun said worriedly. In fact, he didn't have much confidence in going to the Leng family to propose marriage because he used to. I've warned you long ago to restrain yourself. Now you know better. The Yu family's patriarch rebuked angrily, exasperated at his son's failure to live up to expectations. Alas! His son was good in every way, but he had a fatal weakness, which was being perverted. He wanted to bring all the women he liked home. Father, that's all in the past. It won't happen again. I promise. Yukun raised a hand as if he was swearing an oath. What about those women? The patriarch of the Yu family asked with displeasure. Those women would be in trouble if they really became relatives with the Leng family. Alas! He more or less knew the rules of the Leng family. Father, I've already dealt with those women. Don't worry. Yukun promised. That's good. Kuner, you will be someone who will do big things in the future. The hopes of our Yu family are all pinned on you, so don't be as ridiculous as before, understand? The Yu family's patriarch advised earnestly. Okay, Yukun promised. He would not be tempted for the time being unless a woman more beautiful than Shiner appeared. Give this to your Shiner. Patriarch Yu took out a porcelain bottle from his sleeve. Father, what is this? Yukun was a little surprised. This little bottle looked so familiar. Ecstasy, the Yu family head said softly. Father, you mean? Yukun's eyes widened in disbelief. Exactly what you're thinking. I won't be at ease if I don't do this. Don't even think about me getting her some 10,000-year-old wild ginseng, the patriarch of the Yu family said worriedly. He was not a young man who was blinded by love. He would not fall out with others over a woman of unknown origin. Therefore, he had no choice but to do this. He still had doubts about the woman's identity, but in fact, he already believed in Leng Wuxin's identity in his heart. However, out of caution, he felt that it was better to let his son get what he wanted first. This way, when he brought the 10,000 years wild ginseng to the Leng family to propose marriage, the Leng family could not refuse even if they wanted to. But Yukun was suddenly a little scared. Useless thing, where did your boldness when dealing with other women go? The patriarch of the Yu family scolded with a displeased face. All right. I'll do it. Yukun gritted his teeth and left the study with the porcelain bottle in his hand. On the way to the Heartless Garden, Yukun was actually very nervous. To be honest, this was a situation he had never experienced before. However, his heart instantly became resolute again when he thought that Shiner would really belong to him soon. At the entrance of the Heartless Garden, Yukun walked. He raised his head high and asked arrogantly, "Is Shiner awake?" "Miss is awake," the freak said indifferently, ignoring Yukun's rudeness. "I want to see her." "Go and notify her," Yukun ordered. "Miss invites young Master Yu in." At this moment, Leng Ruoxue opened the door, walked out, and bowed slightly. Yukun glared at the freak and snorted coldly. Then he strode directly into Leng Wuxin's boudoir. "Young Master Yu, please have a seat," Leng Ruoxue said politely on purpose to remind him that she was a guest, even though this was his home. After Yukun entered the room, the maidservant he deliberately left in the Heartless Garden to serve Leng Wuxin immediately brought 2 cups of tea and some snacks. Leng Ruoxue naturally prepared some food for her young miss and then left the room. Outside the room, Leng Ruoxue dismissed the Yu family's maidservant and sat on the bench in the flower bed with the freak, which happened to be facing Leng Wuxin's room. "Shuer, what should we do now?" the freak asked with a naughty smile. Chapter 514, Clam and Crane Fight. 1. Admire the scenery. The scenery in the Heartless Garden is really good. It's obvious that Yukun spent a lot of effort here. Leng Ruoxue looked at the scenery in the Heartless Garden with her bright eyes and praised. Every master here was once his favorite woman. How can he not be attentive? The freak said nonchalantly. Efforts. In his opinion, he probably didn't have any good intentions. Freak, I think I smell something sour. Leng Ruoxue teased with a light smile. No way. The freak would never admit that he was a little unhappy to hear Shuer complimenting another man. That's good. Freak, let me lean on you for a while, Leng Ruoxue said. Feel free to lean on me. There's no need to stand on ceremony, the freak said generously. I'm just informing you. I'm not being polite. Leng Ruoxue leaned directly on the freak and closed her eyes. The two of them hugged like this. In the room, a snow-white, translucent snake slipped out of the door and wrapped itself around Leng Ruoxue's wrist as an ornament. Ah! Several hours later, an ear-piercing scream came from Leng Wuxin's room, waking Leng Ruoxue and the freak who were pretending to be sleeping in each other's arms. The two of them hurriedly stood up and ran toward the room. In the room. As soon as Leng Ruoxue entered the room, she saw disheveled clothes strewn all over the floor through the screen. Leng Wuxin was sitting on the bed crying while surrounded by a blanket. Yu Kun, who was beside her, was naked and seemed to be coaxing her. Shiner, don't cry. My heart aches so much from your crying. Alas. It's all my fault. We weren't able to control our emotions, but if I could control it, this wouldn't have happened. Blame me if you want to. Don't be angry enough to damage your body. I'll be responsible for you. I'll immediately go to the Leng family to propose marriage after I obtain the 10,000 years wild ginseng, okay? Yu Kun coaxed gently, his voice so gentle that water seemed to drip from it. However, Leng Wuxin kept crying. Leng Ruoxue listened at the door for a while and thought to herself, this Yu Kun is really an expert at coaxing women. If Leng Wuxin was a real woman, she would probably have to accept it if she heard this. However, she didn't dare to delay for too long and ran directly toward the bed. She was stopped by Yu Kun after just 2 steps. Get out. Don't come near. Yu Kun ordered domineeringly. Miss, what happened? Leng Ruoxue stood obediently on the other side of the screen and asked worriedly. It's okay. Go out first. This has nothing to do with you. Yu Kun directly ordered him to leave. Yes, Leng Ruoxue answered and then obediently left the room. The freak guarding outside the door couldn't help whispering in surprise when he saw Leng Ruoxue coming out so quickly. Shuer, what happened inside? I'm not sure either. Miss is crying very sadly, and young Master Yu is coaxing her. Leng Ruoxue choked up when she heard footsteps in the distance, her little face full of worry. Then why aren't you serving Miss inside? The freak's eyes flashed as he roared furiously. Young Master Yu doesn't allow me to stay inside, Leng Ruoxue said aggrievedly with tears in her bright eyes. What happened? The Yu family head rushed over when he heard the commotion and asked with a worried face. You are, Leng Ruoxue looked at the middle-aged man doubtfully. This is our Yu family's patriarch. Hurry up and greet him, the butler-like middle-aged man said hurriedly. Oh, so it's the Yu family's patriarch. Sorry for being rude. Leng Ruoxue bowed very politely. It's okay. You don't blame those who don't know, the patriarch of the Yu family said generously. He looked at Leng Ruoxue and the freak while he was at it and praised them in his heart. They were indeed servants raised by a super family. Their mental quality was really different. They might be anxious when they encountered trouble, but they didn't panic at all. Alas! The difference. Therefore, he believed Leng Wuxin's identity a little more. By the way, where's your young miss? What happened just now? The patriarch immediately brought people here when he heard that something happened in the Heartless Garden, the butler-like middle-aged man asked. Yes, is your young miss okay? She is an esteemed guest of our Yu family. Our Yu family can't bear the consequences if anything happens to her, the Yu family's patriarch said with a worried face. I'm not sure what happened to Mississippi. Young Master Yu is coaxing Miss inside the room, not allowing me to come close, Len Ruoxue said deliberately with some fear. Kuner is inside. Then you don't have to worry. Kuner will coax your young miss, the Yu family's patriarch comforted, his smug old face almost blooming with laughter. But it's been a long time, Len Ruoxue said worriedly. Don't worry. Let Kuner coax her for a while more. Come, let's sit in the garden, the Yu family's patriarch said to Len Ruoxue and the freak very kindly. Okay, Len Ruoxue answered. Then she pulled the freak behind the patriarch of the Yu family and found a random place to sit in the garden. Don't be nervous. Let's have a casual chat. Patriarch Yu said slowly after seeing the two of them sit down. May I know what Patriarch Yu wants to talk to us about? Len Ruoxue asked curiously. Hee, it's just a casual chat. How long have you been following your young miss? The Yu family's patriarch asked with seeming concern. We've been by Miss' side since we were young. It must have been a long time. Len Ruoxue said uncertainly. Hee, the old fox was probing her. Oh, that should have been for a long time, the patriarch of the Yu family said gloomily. Did this ugly girl not understand what he said? Or was there something wrong with his ability to express himself? However, even though he was depressed, he still had to continue asking. Immediately after, he asked some more questions. However, he was completely depressed after asking because he couldn't get any useful information after asking for a long time. Len Ruoxue glanced at the Yu family head from the corner of her eye and saw that the old man's face was so depressed that it turned black. She couldn't help laughing secretly in her heart. Hee, it's not so easy to pry open the mouth of this maidservant. After a moment of silence, the door to Len Wuxin's room was opened. Chapter 515, Clam and Crane Fight, 2, Len Wuxin and Yukun walked out together. They were stunned when they saw the sudden appearance of people in the yard, but they quickly recovered. Father, why are you here? Yukun asked in surprise. However, he couldn't help but grumble in his heart at the same time. Father. Aren't you a little too fast? I just settled Shiner and you're already here. I brought people here to take a look because I heard someone screaming in the Heartless Garden. I didn't expect you to be here, the patriarch of the Yu family said calmly. Father, Shiner and I can't control our feelings. Shiner is already mine, Yukun said shyly. What? How can this be? How can you treat Miss Leng like this? The Yu family's patriarch roared with a face full of anger. Ah. You must be Miss Leng. I'm sorry to have wronged you. Alas. I didn't teach my son well. Miss Leng, don't worry. I'll go to the Leng family myself to ask for forgiveness. He turned his head after shouting at his son and immediately put on a friendly smile as he said to Len Wuxin. His face changed so quickly that it was speechless. Father, Shiner and I are in love with each other. We love each other sincerely, Yukun said aggrievedly. Uncle Yu, big brother Kun is right. However, I hope you can go to my house to propose marriage as soon as possible. Moreover, the betrothal gift must be 10,000-year-old wild ginseng. Otherwise, my parents won't marry me to big brother Kun, Len Wuxin said shyly. Okay, no problem. I'll go prepare now, the Yu family head said happily and left the Heartless Garden with his men after speaking. After the patriarch of the Yu family left, Yukun couldn't wait to pull Len Wuxin into his arms and said happily, Shiner, I'm so happy. You finally belong to me. Big brother Kun, I'm tired and want to rest. Can you go back first? Len Wuxin's beautiful face was full of pleading, and tears flashed in her beautiful eyes. Okay then. I'll go back first. Shiner, I'll see you tomorrow, Yukun said reluctantly. Okay. Len Wuxin nodded slightly and also reluctantly watched Yukun leave. However, he immediately vomited as soon as he turned around. Len Ruoxue and the freak looked at the vomiting empty in surprise and thought, Isn't this reaction a little too fast? Damn it, what kind of gaze is that? Having vomited enough, he looked up and happened to see their expressions. Immediately, his anger surged. Ah. Nothing, nothing. You just had a stomachache. Leng Ruoxua smiled awkwardly, her face full of understanding. Send me in quickly. I want to take a bath. Empty roared furiously. Damn, he was hugged by a stinky man for so long. No wonder he was so disgusted that he vomited. Yes, yes. Leng Ruoxua nodded. Then, with a thought, the three of them entered the bracelet together. The first thing he did after entering the bracelet was to immediately return to his room to take a shower and wash away the stink that the stinky man had left on his body. Leng Ruoxua and the freak sat in the garden as if they were watching a good show. Big sister, I got the news just in time, right? Qing Ju appeared in front of Leng Ruoxua, looking like he was asking for credit. Hee, big sister had been angry with him for the past 2 days, so he had to be good. Not bad. Leng Ruoxua said lightly. Master, I'm the one performing well, right? Hee, it's all thanks to my illusion. The charm wrapped around Leng Ruoxua's wrist couldn't help asking for credit. Yes, Confound has done a great deed, Leng Ruoxua praised generously. Big sister, how can you treat us differently? Boo-hoo, Qing Ju said aggrievedly. Tears quickly welled up in his eyes, but they refused to fall. Alright, stop pretending to be pitiful. Go to work quickly. The Yu family should be taking action soon in the next 2 days. Leng Ruoxua pinched Qing Ju's soft little face gently and exposed his thoughts. Boo-hoo. Big sister doesn't like Qing Ju anymore. Big sister exploits child labor. Qing Ju obediently turned and left, but he kept muttering as he walked. Stinky Qing Ju. You're bad-mouthing me again. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxua's forehead as she listened to Qing Ju's nagging. Ha, Shuer, you're so cute. The freak smiled happily and stretched out his long arm to pull Leng Ruoxua into his arms. Freak, Empty returned to his room for quite some time, right? Leng Ruoxua asked as she leaned in the freak's arms. Yes, almost half an hour, the freak guessed. How long does he intend to shower? Isn't he an energy body? He can actually bathe? Leng Ruoxua was really too curious. Of course. Several black lines rolled down the freak's forehead. Alas. It was still too early for Shuer to come into contact with these things. What about? Empty's voice suddenly interrupted their conversation and sat down opposite them. Leng Ruoxua looked up at Empty, who looked refreshed after taking a bath, and couldn't help teasing, we were discussing your bath. What's there to discuss about my bath? Empty's beautiful face was full of question marks. Empty, won't you become spoiled if you bathe? Leng Ruoxua asked curiously. What do you mean? Empty was puzzled. Did he miss something? Because you're an energy body. Leng Ruoxua said with a face full of surprise. Ah. Shuer, the energy body isn't made of paper. It can't be broken. 2 drops of cold sweat dripped down Empty's forehead as he said helplessly. Alas. Why did this girl always like to let her imagination run wild? Ha, that's good. I was really afraid that you would melt. Leng Ruoxua said with a light smile. The 3 of them were teasing each other when the space in front of them suddenly fluctuated. Qing Ju appeared and said, Big sister, the Yu family plans to take action tomorrow night. Got it. Qing Ju, get Cheng Wu and the others to think of a way to tell the other 4 families about this. Leng Ruoxua ordered after some thought. Okay, big sister, Qing Ju answered and then disappeared into thin air. Shuer, do you intend to capture them all in one fell swoop? Qing Ju asked curiously after leaving. Chapter 516, Clam and Crane Fight, 3, yes, but I'm afraid it won't be enough. Leng Ruoxue said thoughtfully. She was mainly afraid that these 5 major forces were still thinking about their old ancestors' final words, so they were unwilling to let loose. The Yu family is the strongest among the 5 major factions. Not only do they have a mystic supremacy, but they also have the most mystic sovereigns. None of the 4 families will be a match for the Yu family in a one-on-one fight. However, the Yu family will definitely be defeated if they join forces. I wonder if the other 4 families will be together. Empty guessed. Of course not. Moreover, I don't want them to be too united. It's better if they dragged each other down. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Hehe, the more chaotic the internal affairs of the 5 major factions, the more beneficial it was for her. Yes, it will save us a lot of trouble if they kill each other, the freak agreed. Ha, we will know how far they will fight tomorrow night, Leng Ruoxue said expectantly. Alas. It seems like I'm finally free. There's no more need to pretend to be a woman, Empty said with a sigh of relief. Not necessarily. The 5 major factions have deep roots. How can we let them suffer a huge blow just once? Therefore, you have to continue pretending. Leng Ruoxue said with a naughty smile. How much longer do I have to pretend? Empty asked gloomily with a long face. It won't be too long. Moreover, I guarantee that Yu-kun won't have time to pester you anymore. You can be at ease this way, right? Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Yes, that's more like it. Empty nodded with satisfaction. In fact, he understood what Shuer meant. If they disappeared immediately after the 5 major factions fought, the 5 major factions would definitely suspect them. At that time, all their efforts these few days would probably be in vain. As the saying went, acting had to be a complete act. Anyway, he had already disguised himself as a woman, so of course, he didn't care about pretending for a few more days. Then let's rest early today and rest up. Let's wait for the show tomorrow night. Leng Ruoxue stood up and said expectantly. Okay, the freak and Empty answered in unison. With that, Leng Ruoxue and the freak entered the purple bamboo hut to rest, and Empty returned to his room. Late the next night, the moon was dark and the wind was high. It was the time when people slept the most soundly. At the same time, it was the best time to do bad things. Leng Ruoxue and the others arrived at the patriarch's mansion early and found a good spot on the roof to watch the show. On the roof, Leng Ruoxue leaned against the freak. There were several cute little beasts in her arms, and in front of them were all sorts of food and snacks. She drank small tea while enjoying the freak's feeding and teasing her beasts. It was so satisfying. Miss, our people are all hidden. The head butler was speechless when he saw everything in front of him. So Miss was really here to watch a show? Yes, head butler, tell them not to be too restrained. They are invisible, and the other party can't see them, so they can also be like me, just waiting to watch the show. Leng Ruoxue's beautiful eyes swept across the various corners and reminded. She specially asked Rise to cast an invisibility spell on each of them. Why did those people still look like they were facing a formidable enemy? Alas! The ones watching the show this time were all mystic sovereigns. Why were they still so timid? Ah! I told them, the head butler said helplessly. After all, it concerned their future lives, so none of them could be as relaxed as Miss. Oh, head butler, find a place to sit down too. Don't block my vision, Leng Ruoxue said lightly. Her grandfather in the bracelet had sent her a voice transmission just now, saying that the head butler was blocking them. Alas! These old men really couldn't do anything to them. They said they wanted to enter seclusion, but they wanted to watch a good show. She had no choice but to wake them up. Otherwise, she was really afraid that these old men would band together to settle the score with her. Yes, the head butler replied with cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Then he sat down beside Leng Ruoxue and waited for her instructions. In the bracelet. Why aren't the people from the Yu family here yet? Old man Zhao looked around anxiously. They felt that they had entered seclusion since the lass wanted to carry out the honey trap plan. However, she had promised not to forget them if there was a good show. Fortunately, the lass had a conscience. What's the hurry? It's not even dawn yet. Lin Liang said as he sat on a stone chair, eating fruits in his hand. It'll be too late by dawn. Old man Zhao roared furiously. Boo-hoo. Was it easy for him to come out of seclusion? He didn't know when he would be able to come out again in the future, yet he waited so long for nothing. How unprofessional. Ha, the wild monkey can't sit still anymore, right? The old man smiled happily, gloating a little. Get lost. You're the wild monkey. Old man Zhao glared at the old man and said fiercely. I didn't hug a tree to sleep, the old man continued provoking fearlessly. Old man Zhao was about to roar when he saw the people from the Yu family. His attention was immediately attracted, and he had long forgotten to bicker with the old man. The show is about to begin. Everyone, focus. Qing Ju stood in front of the light curtain he created and took the role of the commentator on the scene. It's over. The Yu family has been completely surrounded. The show has officially begun. Qing Ju said excitedly. The atmosphere in the bracelet was lively and fiery. Leng Qingtian and the others, as well as the beasts, were all focused on the light curtain, afraid that they would miss any exciting scene. Boo-hoo. They might not be able to see it live, but a live broadcast would do as well. They would also cheer and encourage both sides in the battle. The excitement of watching the commotion was high, but the protagonists of the battle were not in a good mood. The people from the Yu family, who were surrounded, were depressed to death, and the other four families were not in a good mood because this should be the first true battle between them. All the elites from the 5 parties were deployed. The previous ones might occasionally have large-scale casualties, but it was only a small fight compared to this one. Chapter 5:17, Clam and Crane Fight. 4. You're really too shameless. You actually came to my Yu family to rob me. The Yu family's patriarch took the lead to launch an attack. They had already decided to fall out anyway, so why should he leave any face for you? He has always been shameless, isn't this normal? The Ni family head added oil to the fire. His son was beaten up badly by Yu-kun, and now he was lying in bed, unable to move. Therefore, he had wanted to take revenge for his son for a long time, and at the same time, vent the wronged anger he had suffered for many years. It just so happened that the Yu family had the same intentions, so they hit it off immediately. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Let's start fighting directly. The patriarch of the Zhao family was impatient. He couldn't help becoming a little anxious seeing that they didn't start fighting for a long time. Don't blame me for not caring about the past since you want to die. The Yu family head's face darkened as he forced himself to be calm and said coldly. His heart had been searching for someone who might betray him, but he couldn't think of who it was after thinking for a long time because only his trusted aide knew about their operation today. He was very sure that his trusted aide would never betray him. Caring about the paste? Have you ever gone anything for us? The Fong family's patriarch snorted disdainfully. Since you think so, don't blame me for being heartless. The Yu family's patriarch took out his weapon with slight anger and injected mystic energy into it to attack the Fong family's patriarch directly. Everyone from the Yu family also found their opponents to prepare for a fight when they saw the patriarch taking action. The patriarch of the Fong family dodged quickly, avoiding the sharp attack. However, he couldn't help breaking out in cold sweat. Damn, everyone was talking. Why did this lunatic look for him first? He was so angry. At the same time, he didn't forget to ask for help. Hurry up and help. Everyone, follow the plan, the Yu family head ordered after seeing the situation. That old man from the Yu family was a supremacy. he didn't know if the four of them could deal with him. However, they had to injure him seriously even if they couldn't kill him. Otherwise, their plan would be in vain. The moment the patriarch of the Yu family finished speaking, the four of them joined forces to deal with the patriarch of the Wan family. The subordinates of the four families also separately fought with the people of the Yu family. For a time, saber lights and sword shadows flashed non-stop in the patriarch's mansion, and colorful mystic energy flew everywhere. The mystic cultivators fell to the ground as if they were relays and lost their lives forever. The five great forces of 10,000 Mountain City treated the Yu family's mansion as their battlefield, and they were carrying out a battle of destiny here. On the roof. Leng Ruoxua narrowed her eyes as she watched the battle below and nodded with slight satisfaction. Well, this was more like it. She just didn't know how many elites would the five major forces lose after this battle. However, the more the better. Miss, this is too intense. The head butler was a little dumbfounded as he looked at the intense battle in the yard and murmured. Yes, get used to it. In fact, the five major forces have long had a deep grudge. Otherwise, a small honey trap would not have such an effect. What they need is just a fuse to blow up the conflict between them, and I happen to give them one, Leng Ruoxua explained lightly. Yes, I understand, the head butler said respectfully. He really admired Leng Ruoxua now. Without the suppression of the five major factions, the people you took in should be able to fend for themselves in the future. Leng Ruoxua looked at the butler. Yes, definitely. Miss saved them, the head butler said quickly. There's no need to flatter me. I'm not doing this for them, but for myself. They are big trouble, and I hate trouble the most. Leng Ruoxua said without giving them any face. In fact, she just wanted to find a corner for them and help those troubles along the way. Ah. The head butler was depressed. Why did others always suck up to the right person but him? This was too unfair. Boo-hoo. Head butler, the strength of the five major factions was greatly damaged this time. They have been operating in Myriad Mountain City for many years after all, so it's best for you not to act rashly for the time being. Leng Ruoxua said after some thought. Yes, I understand, the main butler quickly replied. He would not be anxious. He had survived for so many years. Couldn't he wait for this little time? Okay, let's go back first. There should be an outcome tomorrow, Leng Ruoxua said when she saw that the fight in the patriarch's yard was almost over. There was no point in staying any longer. Yes. The head butler nodded. Leng Ruoxua stored the other beasts in the bracelet, leaving Quill outside. Quill carried them back to the Heartless Garden. After returning to the room in the Heartless Garden, Leng Ruoxua brought the freak into the bracelet. Leng Qingtian and the others were already waiting for them. Shuer, you're here, Leng Qingtian said happily, his face full of joy. Hee, his granddaughter's plan was very successful. Grandpa, why are you so excited? Leng Ruoxua asked in puzzlement. Ah. Did she miss something? Ha, lass, we can do whatever we want in Myriad Mountain City from now on, Old Man Zhao said happily, his old face almost blooming with laughter. Do whatever we want. The five major factions are deeply rooted and not so easy to uproot. Leng Ruoxua was not as optimistic as Old Man Zhao. How could a one-time internal strife destroy the five major factions so easily? If that was the case, the five major factions would have been replaced long ago. They would not have been able to dominate Myriad Mountain City for so many years. Then what should we do? Are we going to give up this good opportunity? Old Man Zhao said with some pity. Many mystic sovereigns had died in the five major factions tonight. He felt that they should seize this opportunity. It's still a little early. Wait a while more. Leng Ruoxua said very cautiously. There were several mystic sovereigns among her subordinates, but other than Cheng Wu and a few others who were relatively stronger among the mystic sovereigns, the other mystic sovereigns were only at the bottom among the same level. They could be said to be of little use if they really fought each other. Shuer is right. We can't rush this matter. Leng Qingtian immediately understood his granddaughter's thoughts after some thought. Chapter 518, The Dust Settles. 1. Grandpa, I think you can just enter seclusion peacefully. Leave this to the head butler and the others, Leng Ruoxue suggested. Yes, we are too weak now. It will be difficult for us to do anything. The most important thing now is indeed to improve our strength as soon as possible, Leng Qingtian agreed. Lass, then let's continue our seclusion. Old man Zhao said tactfully. Boo-hoo. He was still a mystic. He didn't know when he would be able to break through to become a great mystic. Alas. He didn't dare to think about the mystic monarch now. It was too far away from him. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded and watched the reluctant old men enter their rooms before turning her gaze to Zero. No. Do you think the Yu family will seek help from the Leng family? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. I wouldn't ask for help if I were him. This is really embarrassing for him. After all, he is also a mystic supremacy, Empty said with a smile. Based on his understanding of the Yu family's patriarch, that old man should be a cautious and prideful person, so he would never ask for help. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded in agreement. She wanted to go with him on this point. However, she had to be careful. It would be a little troublesome if the old man turned his face away and didn't ask for help from the Leng family. Therefore, she had to be careful. Shuer, don't worry. That old man will definitely not be able to put down his dignity, Empty said with certainty. Yes, Empty. It's getting late. Let's go and rest. Leng Ruoxue looked at the time and said. Then she entered the purple bamboo hut with the freak. In the next few days, Myriad Mountain City fell into silence. The commercial flow of Myriad Mountain City was as normal as usual. There was a strong tremor among the upper echelons of the 5 major factions. Everyone was in danger because only they knew how tragic the battle late at night was. Countless mystic monarchs and mystic sovereigns were either dead or injured. Nearly 2/3 of the strength of the 5 major factions had been lost. Now, the 5 parties had entered a dormant period to recuperate and wait for an opportunity to take action. At the main residence of the Yu family. In the patriarch's room. The patriarch of the Yu family lay on the bed with injuries all over his body. His face was very pale at this moment, and his originally handsome face had a worried frown. Moreover, he didn't say a word, so no one knew what he was thinking. Father. Yu Kun's voice sounded in the room, and he strode in. Kuner, how's the investigation going? The patriarch of the Yu family looked up and asked coldly when he heard his son's voice. Alas. The loss this time was really too serious. Not only did he obtain nothing, but he also completely fell out with the other 4 families. Moreover, he didn't dare to trust anyone easily except for his son now. At least, everyone was very suspicious before he found out who betrayed him. Father, I didn't find out. I'm sorry. I was too useless, Yu Kun said self-reproachfully. Kuner, how can I blame you? That traitor is too cunning, the Yu family head said through gritted teeth. If he found that person, he would definitely tear that person who dared to betray him into pieces. Father, I will continue to send people to monitor everyone. Don't worry. Yu Kun promised. Yes, Kuner. Father might be injured badly, but the other 4 old things are not any better than me. Tell everyone to be alert lest they launch a sneak attack, the Yu family's patriarch ordered. Yes, I will, Yu Kun said. Kuner, did you invite the alchemist I asked you to invite? The Yu family's patriarch asked. His injuries were too serious. It was very difficult for him to recover unless an alchemy supremacy specially concocted a heaven-grade pill to treat his injuries. Father, I've already sent people to look for him. However, they have also reported that the alchemist isn't at home now, Yukun said gloomily. He had also heard that there was a mysterious and powerful alchemist in Myriad Mountain City. He immediately sent people to invite him after father was injured, but he didn't find him. Get someone to guard his house. Invite him back immediately if you find his whereabouts. In addition, send someone to the Alchemist Association to invite an alchemist's supremacy over, the Yu family patriarch ordered. He couldn't hang himself on a tree. If he couldn't find this alchemist, then he had to go to the Alchemist Association, even though it would take a lot of time to go there and back. Father, I've already sent people there, Yukun said. Yes, Kuner, you're really becoming more thoughtful now, the Yu family's patriarch said very happily. Father, you are the pillar of our Yu family. How can I let anything happen to you? Yukun said fearfully. Alas. He knew very well that if something happened to his father, their Yu family would be completely finished. He could not support the Yu family with his current strength. Kuner, don't worry. Father will be fine. Alas. Father is tired. Go out first, the Yu family's patriarch ordered and then closed his eyes. Father, rest well. Yukun left quietly after speaking. For the past few days, the entire Yu family, old and young, were on high alert. However, the Heartless Garden was a relaxed and happy scene. In the garden, Leng Ruoxue, the freak, and Empty were sitting on a stone bench, drinking tea and eating snacks, especially Empty. He felt so good without that annoying man pestering him. Miss, your fiancé is so busy now that he doesn't have time to visit you. Why aren't you worried at all? Leng Ruoxue looked at the slightly smug Empty and teased softly. Damn girl, why did you mention him? Empty gritted his teeth and looked at Leng Ruoxue with displeasure on his beautiful face. Shuer is right. I also think you're too heartless, the freak added oil to the fire. Do the two of you want to anger me to death? It wasn't easy for us to have some peace and quiet for a few days. He didn't come to bother me, but you mentioned him instead, Empty roared furiously. He could finally tell that these two people were doing it on purpose. They wanted to anger him to death. Humph. Two baddies. Ha, freak, right? Empty turned hostile. Leng Ruoxue said with a light smile. Hee, she just made a bet with the freak, saying that Empty would definitely turn hostile if he heard anything related to Yukun. The freak didn't believe it. He lost to her now. Chapter 519, The Dust Settles, 2, Yes, you won, the freak said with eyes full of affection, his face not depressed at all from losing. Damn it, you actually used me as a bet? No one listened as their lungs were about to explode. Were these two people too bored recently? Yo, are you really angry? I was just joking with you. Don't tell me you're so petty. Leng Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. Alas. Empty's temper had been getting worse recently. She really didn't know if his menopause had arrived. Humph. Why don't you think about how to let them continue fighting if you have the time to bet with me? They have been calm for a few days. Empty reminded them. The 5 major forces were heavily injured now, and they would probably not start a conflict for the time being. This way, their plan would have to be delayed again. That was not the outcome he wanted to see. Ha, don't worry. I have my own plans. Leng Ruoxue smiled mysteriously. What did you do behind my back again? Empty asked curiously. Nothing. Leng Ruoxue pretended to be stupid. Do you know? Empty turned his head and asked the freak. Know what? The freak pretended to be stupid. You are too disloyal. We are comrades. How can you hide it from me? Empty said aggrievedly. Tears welled up in his beautiful eyes, and he looked like he was about to cry. Ah. Leng Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Empty was also using this move. Shuer. Leng Ruhan's voice suddenly sounded in Leng Ruoxue's head. Big brother is out of seclusion. Leng Ruoxue said happily. At the same time, she brought the freak and empty into the bracelet with a thought. After entering the bracelet, Leng Ruoxue looked at the stunningly beautiful man standing not far away from her and couldn't help but throw herself into his arms. She choked up a little and said, "Big brother, I missed you so much." "Swear, elder brother misses you too." Leng Ruhan hugged his beloved sister tightly and said excitedly. Empty stood a few meters away from Leng Ruoxue and her brother, looking at the extremely discordant handsome man and ugly woman hugging each other. He poked the freak with his arm gossipily and said, "Hey, why aren't you jealous? It's really too rare." "That's Schwer's elder brother." The freak glared at Empty fiercely and said with slight displeasure. "Humph. How could he not be jealous? He just didn't show it." "Oh." Empty deliberately dragged out his voice and said in realization. "What are you doing? Come over quickly." Leng Ruoxue turned to look at the freak and nothing after hugging her brother warmly and urged them. "Coming," the freak said hurriedly. He took 2 steps and arrived in front of Leng Ruhan. "Big brother, you've finally emerged from seclusion," the freak said happily. "Yes, I can finally break through to the spiritual deity with my own strength," Leng Ruhan said excitedly. The day before they left the Ling Feng continent, he, Fengde, and the others decided to enter seclusion because their strength was too low and they would not be of much help to Schwer when they arrived in the upper realm. Therefore, they all unanimously decided that they would definitely not come out of seclusion unless they reached the spiritual deity realm. Today, his wish was finally fulfilled, and he could fight alongside Schwer again. "Ha, big brother, congratulations," Leng Ruoxue said happily. "Alas, Schwer, I don't know your level at all now. It seems like I'm much behind you again." Leng Ruhan sighed softly and said helplessly. "Big brother, don't worry. The cultivation methods in this world might be slightly different from those on our Ling Feng continent, but with your aptitude, you can catch up to us quickly," Leng Ruoxue comforted. "Yes, I will work hard," Leng Ruhan said with great determination. He would stand by his sister's side and fight alongside her in the future, so he naturally would not give up on himself. "Big brother, his name is Empty. We met here." Leng Ruoxue pointed at Empty and introduced him to her brother. "Hello." Leng Ruhan sized up Empty and said very friendly. Since he could enter this place, Schwer must believe him very much, so Leng Ruhan naturally believed this man because he believed in Schwer's taste. "Hello. I've heard a lot about you, but what I'm more curious about is how do you know that she's definitely your younger sister? She looks different from your younger sister, doesn't she?" Empty said in puzzlement. He heard that Leng Ruhan and the others had already entered seclusion before they arrived at the boundless heaven continent. Then he shouldn't know that his younger sister had changed her appearance. But why didn't he suspect that the person in front of him was not his younger sister at all? "How can I mistake my own sister? I will recognize her at a glance no matter what she becomes," Leng Ruhan said very confidently. Impressive," elder brother said with admiration. Alas. No wonder Schwer kept saying that she had a good brother. He was really envious of the deep relationship between the siblings. "Take your time chatting. Big brother, it'll bring you to a place where you can advance," Leng Ruoxue suggested. When would Fengde and the others come out of seclusion?" "Okay." Leng Ruhan nodded. After that, Leng Ruoxue left the bracelet with the freak and summoned Quill and Rise. She got Quill to cast an invisibility spell on them and then got Quill to carry them to the uninhabited deep stream. After reaching the deep stream, Leng Ruoxue moved her brother out of the bracelet, and then stood quietly by the side with the freak. After a long while, the heaven-earth laws finally descended into the deep stream, and Leng Ruhan officially advanced to the spiritual deity realm. His beasts also advanced individually. After the advancement, Leng Ruoxue and the others quickly returned to the Heartless Garden. Half a month later, Leng Ruoxue and the others had been staying quietly in the Heartless Garden for the past half a month. They drank tea and chatted every day, and they carefully observed every move of the 5 great factions of 10,000 Mountain City through Qingju. They watched quietly. During this period, several intense battles broke out among the 5 major forces. Among them, the patriarch of the Yu and Xiao families were accidentally killed by the Yu family in chaos. Yu Kun also led the experts of the Yu family and took the opportunity to destroy the leaderless Yu and Xiao families. At this point, the Yu and Xiao families officially disappeared from the 5 major forces, and the battles between the other 3 major forces were still going on endlessly. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.